there, good people, and welcome back. It's time, once again, it's time for the cheesiest, beaniest podcast on the internet. I am full of Mexican food, John.
I haven't eaten yet.
Okay, I'm sorry then. I didn't mean to taunt you, but yeah.
Son of a bitch.
I know. Hey, man, it's not my fault. I don't know these things. I eat at weird times. But hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rage Select Podcast. I am Jeff.
I'm John.
And, yeah, we are, it's podcast time.
Yeah.
Once again. And, yeah, we have a lot to talk about this week, John.
Yeah?
There's a shitload of things happening this week.
All right.
But before we get into any of that stuff, I have to say, just briefly, I had a birthday last week.
You did.
And I'd like to thank everybody out there for all of your birthday wishes. And, I'd like to thank all of the people who showed up in the rain to Karaoke Apocalypse to hang out with me on my birthday. I got two big gifts for my birthday.
Nice.
Quick Kick from the website brought me two Cool Ranch Doritos Locos tacos from Taco Bell.
Nice.
And I don't know if you know this about me, John. I've never had a Doritos Locos taco before.
I figured.
I mean, like, personally, I thought that I was afraid of them. I'm not ashamed. I'm not a proud man. I'm not too proud to admit that it just didn't, like, it wasn't a thing that seemed like it needed to happen in my mind.
No, I get it.
I mean, like, okay, you're going to put Fritos inside a hamburger. It's corn and crunch and whatever. But what I imagined in my mind was that the taco shell, for those of you who don't live in America and do not know what this abomination is, it's basically just a Taco Bell taco, except that the shell has, like, Dorito dust on it. And you can get the original cheesy, or you can get the Cool Ranch. And I was afraid that they were going to, like, Cool Ranch the shit out of that taco shell.
Yeah.
To the point where, I mean, because, you know, regular old, I'm sorry, my mouth is watering talking about Doritos. Regular old Doritos, like both the cheesy variety and the Cool Ranch variety, like they cool the shit out of that ranch.
Yeah, they do.
Right? Like,
That's why they're so awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a part of me when I turned, I don't know, pick your generic Jeff is an old man, age 12, I don't know, where I was like, these chips are too cool. The ranch is so cold.
Too flavorful. I can't my mouth cannot take the flavor packets.
It's like I suddenly became like the dad on the commercial for Cool Ranch where he's like, let's see what these kids are into. And then it's like your hair all blows back and I'm like, oh no, just too much. But whether it was a product of the specific Taco Bell these Doritos Locos tacos came from, whatever, it wasn't the Cool Ranch wasn't too much.
Yeah,
it was all right. Like, I was like, I'll eat one to be nice. And then I was like, I'm going to eat the other one now because that one was pretty good.
All right, that's good to know.
Yeah. It was actually the second year we figured out in a row where somebody has brought me just a tasty yet awful food for my birthday at the Nomad Bar.
Nice.
Were you there last year?
I think I was.
When our friend Elizabeth brought Jim's Biscuits and Gravy and put candles in the Jim's Biscuits.
I was there for that. I was there for that.
So yeah, that was pretty cool. And
this year I was not there because I was taking care of a dog.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway, then I also got our friend Michael got me the trade paperback for the sequel to What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way.
Yeah.
Like the Return of Manchester Black and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was okay. I don't feel like it was quite as good as the original, just because the original was such a... I've always thought about that Superman comic as like kind of like V for Vendetta or like Watchmen, where like that comic was like a direct answer to like the Authority, right? So I feel like it had a time and its place. The other one, it wasn't bad. I mean, you know, it was fine. And I like reading Superman comics. I fucking love Superman. But it was all right. I don't know. It didn't make as much of an impact. Like that scene at the end where he's fucking chewing out Manchester Black at the end of What's So Funny when he's got the shredded cape on. Like, that's a panel that just stuck with me for a long time. So anyway, yes, I had a birthday. I got real drunk. Which is
not
why,
surprised.
Yeah, which a bit of an apology. I do believe that last Sunday was the first day in the entire history of Rage Select where a thing didn't go up. I canceled the stream, and then I was like, but I'll have the podcast up. And then we had some podcast issues, and so that didn't go up. And I was like, fuck it, man. It's the day after my birthday, and I'm hungover, and
I don't think anyone's going to fault you for that.
John, come on now. Let's not go overboard.
No. I don't think anyone's going to fault you. If anyone has a problem, they can sit and spin.
Say deal with me. Say deal with me. Say you're going to take a stand. You'd be like, any of you internet turkeys, you just got to come through me if you want to complain. No.
They can just, hold it to themselves.
Oh, okay.
Maybe write it down on a piece of paper, then take that piece of paper and throw it into a fire, and then just let the ashes go up into the sky, and
that way you can be assured that someday I will inhale a particle of your
hate.
There'll be an actual physical hate particle
somewhere in the air.
I'll just be outside walking my dog, and I'm like, oh, what is that? Everybody's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, just the air hates me. What is that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So do that.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel like we should do that for all internet comments, right?
Just write on a piece of paper.
Just throw it into a fire. We're all going to have like a fire in our backyard from now on where you're like, did you see that new trailer? And just out there tearing reams out of a spiral notebook. And like, this
one's the whole notebook in there.
This one's for Kevin Feige. This one's for Ben Affleck. This one's for all those lady Ghostbusters. And just, then you'll know... that'll be great because you could look out your front door and you'll know... Like, you see the big smoke plume coming out of that guy's house. Don't ever fucking talk to that guy.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a great idea. In fact, it makes me want to sell like a Zippo or something, like a Zippo and like a porcelain bowl on Rage Select with like a little like moleskin notebook or whatever. To be like, here's your new system for commenting on the internet. Oh, man, that would be great. Well, John,
glad I could help.
I don't think you've been on since you got a dog, have you?
Well, I mean...
You've been on some of the other shows, but
yeah, I mean, I've been on the other stuff. I mean, there was that time that I did 2 episodes in a row, and then like you wouldn't let me on anymore.
That's true. That's very true. I locked the door, turned off all the lights, pretend like I wasn't home.
Yeah.
It's what happens. I
was kind of surprised when you were like, "Hey, we're gonna do a podcast," and I was like, "Oh, I'm allowed to do those again, huh?"
Yeah. Well, I like to mix it up. I like to mix.
I know.
And match.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, I can throw people over here.
Yeah,
throw
I
people
got a
over
dog.
There. Yeah?
Yeah.
How's your dog?
She's good. She's good. Yeah, she's starting to, get used to living in the house. She's a lot more potty trained than I expected.
Okay.
And we're dealing with some stuff, but
So have you started training yet for the Iditarod? Or that's your end goal, right?
No.
Tiny little dog pulling a sled.
No.
Okay.
We just want a dog in the house.
Okay.
To comfort us.
Okay. Well, that's good.
She's got spunk.
All right.
Yeah. So there's that.
Someday, I don't know, maybe your dog and my dog will have to meet. Then they could be the bestest of friends, and they could go on adventures, and they could solve crimes.
She'd be able to solve crimes.
Do you think so?
I think so, yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, she's still a baby. She's only like 7 months old.
Right.
So it's...
Is she like, is she a lot like Brad Pitt in the movie Seven?
No.
Damn it! Because my dog is a lot like Morgan Freeman in the movie Seven. He's very dour. He's very by the book. Sometimes he gets excited, but most of the time he's just very, right there. So I was figuring we could do a whole reenactment of the movie Seven, but just with the dogs.
With the dogs.
Yes.
Okay.
Where I'll put the raincoat on him and hold him up, and he will just hate it the entire time. He'll have that horrible look on his face, like, just stop, man, just fucking stop. Well, have you been doing anything else in the last few weeks before the last time?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to the end of Quantum Break.
Oh, okay.
I'm having a little bit of trouble with the last level of that game.
I've been meaning to start Quantum Break.
Yeah. I've been I actually kind of got stuck because I kind of got frustrated with it. I'm sure it's super easy and I'm just being stupid with it.
Yeah.
But I actually just it kind of got frustrating stuck. So then I started playing over on PlayStation. They have their Sony Spotlight releases where they were doing basically Salt and Sanctuary.
Plus, yeah.
Well, no, it was like Salt and Sanctuary was part of it. So was Day of the Tentacle.
Oh, okay.
Basically, they're basically
so it's kind of like a Summer of Arcade type of thing.
Yeah, it's weird. Like Sony went, hey, that Summer of Arcade thing that Microsoft did for the 360 was really good. We're gonna do that on the PS4. And Microsoft went, yeah, remember that Summer of Arcade thing? Fuck that shit.
I loved the Summer of Arcade.
Yeah.
Even when I didn't have an Xbox 360, I was still just like, man, all these games look great. And I remember the first year that Sony tried to do their own thing.
Yeah.
And it was just like, these are terrible. Like that Blood Rain side scroller.
Yeah.
You're just not
But
super great.
I bought one called Stories Path of Destinies. Worst fucking title in the world.
That's a pretty terrible name.
Yeah.
That's a pretty goddamn terrible name.
It's actually a really enjoyable game. Like the combat and the controls for it are really tight, and it's I mean, if I have one complaint with the controls, it's that everything is done with one button. Or like, the combat, the interacting, everything is just done with one button.
Right.
But it's a fun game, and it's meant to be replayed multiple times. It's quick, so I can sit down, play it for an hour, and get through a full session, and then have to go back and start over because I didn't.
Sounds great. That sounds great. I'm so tired of long games.
Yeah. And it's it's fun. Like I legitimately have a fun. I just wish that they fucking spent more time on thinking of a good name. I mean, I get. So here's the thing. It's like when you play the game, the title makes total sense.
Right.
But it's still a fucking terrible name.
It's Stories and then like
Path of Destinies.
I feel like either one of those by itself would have been way better.
Yeah.
Like if it was just called Stories, or if it was just called Paths of Destiny, or whatever.
It's like someone took. I'm trying to think of a good explanation of it. It's like there's it's all like cities in the sky and sky ships and kind of that kind of, I don't know what kind of genre that would be.
Okay.
But
steampunky.
Yeah, kind of with anthropomorphic characters. So it's all like your main character's a fox and like the main villain is a toad and things like that. But also there's like a Bastion element to it, and there's there's a narrator reading what your character's doing, and he's even making like jokes and things. And because you actually have to play the game over multiple times, like he'll even make little, like every time you play through it, sometimes he'll make different quips.
Nice.
Based on choices you made the previous time you went through it.
Nice.
I honestly have a lot of fun with this game, and I was really surprised at how much I liked it.
Okay.
And just that title, because every time I tell it to somebody, someone's like, I don't know what that, like they hear the title, they're just like, nope, I want nothing to do with that.
Yeah,
it's like, no, give it a try. Trust me.
It doesn't sound super great. It doesn't.
Yeah. And then other than playing that game, reading comics, really digging. Speaking of Superman, really digging Max Landis's Superman American Alien.
Yeah, I saw you talking about that online.
Yeah. I feel like the book doesn't get a fair shake because people hate Max Landis.
Yeah,
I don't really understand the hate for Max Landis because I don't have a problem with him. But let me rephrase that. I get it.
I was about to say, because I can explain it.
I get it.
Have you seen his hair? I'm not going to harp on it, but like I could just see, immediately look at this guy and the way that he talks and stuff, and just being like,
but I feel like some
what
people
a douche.
unjustly hate on him.
Sure.
To the point of it's just like you just mentioned his name. It's like, fuck that guy and whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
Well, I just mentioned his name. I didn't even say what he did.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like they're just like they hear his name and they want to fucking hate him. And here's the thing: he had a lot of complaints about Man of Steel,
right?
And even Batman versus Superman.
Sure.
And you know what? He put his money's where his mouth is, and he made a damn good Superman story.
It's funny to me how many people dislike him, because my first exposure to him was 3 videos. It was the Death and Return of Superman, which I think is a great video, right?
It's a lot of fun.
The second one was the one where he was sitting down and doing his Death of Superman pitch for a movie.
I didn't like that pitch, but yeah,
I liked it. I liked it all right. I mean, I thought that at least like especially when I look at what we got, right?
Yeah.
I like that more than that. And then the third one, of course, is Wrestling Isn't Wrestling, which genuinely has made me more interested in wrestling than I was before.
He also did appeared on a podcast, which it's hilarious because this podcast was originally some girl does like interviews with comedians, and she was interviewing like Dolph Ziggler, who is a wrestler who's also on the side a comedian, or trying to become a comedian. As just kind of a fallback kind of thing, but also to help him become better at promos. And so she was talking to him, and she couldn't, like, the podcast is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally the worst thing ever, and you can tell that Dolph Ziggler is just being really nice. And then just, like, right in the middle of it, her phone rings. She's like, hold on, I got to call this. And this is how unprofessional she is. It's like, in the middle of a podcast, she's like, I got to answer this phone call. Answers it, and she's like, oh, it's my friend Max Landis. Hold on. And then all you hear, like, she's like, oh, I'm doing a podcast with a guy, Dolph Ziggler, and then from the earpiece, which is not anywhere near the mic, you hear, I'm coming over right now. And then he gets there and he's just fanboying and talking about wrestling and trying to explain to her why wrestling is interesting, because the entire time she's like, oh, wrestling's stupid and you're stupid for being in wrestling, but I guess you're funny and let's just talk about Chipotle for an hour, kind of. But it's just, and it literally, there's a segment, and I've actually posted it on videos where we've done wrestling. There's a segment where it's Max Landis talking about why wrestling is interesting,
right?
And like it's from that podcast, and it's really good.
I mean, like I know that there's been a thing, and I guess we could give our 2 cents on this if you want. That like he did a couple of videos just recently on his YouTube channel about the Scarlett Johansson Ghost in the Shell thing, and I watched him, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, he seems like. I think the thing that's probably really irritating about him is he seems like he just doesn't give two shits about what you think, right?
Yeah, that's definitely one of his things. Is he's past the point of caring what you think about him.
Yeah.
All he cares about is, like it. I don't know. Like I don't know what he cares about.
But again, though, totally understand if you don't like the guy. Like he does kind of have a douchey way about him that I could see that.
Yeah. But anyways, like the dude knows how to write Superman was my point. Though.
Okay.
Going back to that, the dude.
Is it over yet?
It's got one more issue to come out, and then obviously there's going to be a collected edition. Which
I would be interested in
and to
reading
kind of
that.
explain the story is like they approached him to do a New 52 origin.
Okay.
But instead of doing an origin, because his reaction was, no, fuck that. Everyone's told an origin for Superman, and people have done it 10 times better than I will ever do.
Sure.
Instead, I'm going to do a 7-issue story. Each issue is about a specific day in Clark Kent's life.
Okay.
And each of these days influences the man he becomes when he becomes Superman.
Okay.
And this is why he becomes such a great, this character kind of thing. And it's really good. I mean, there are some elements of it that I kind of groaned at.
Yeah.
Like there's in one of the issues, there's a thing where he meets Lex Luthor, and like the things Lex Luthor is saying is so heavy-handed that it's like groan-worthy. Mm-hmm. Like it's just like, okay, you're just like beating me over the head with Lex Luthor saying Clark Kent become Superman.
Right.
I don't know that you're Superman, but become Superman.
Right.
And it's like, okay, you're going a little bit too on the nose.
Sure.
But like everything else has been really good. It's been fun. It worried me at first because all the covers for like the first like 2 or 3 issues are like dark and menacing. It's American Alien, and it's like the first cover's a picture of a child Clark with glowing red eyes in the cornfields of Kansas. Mm-hmm. And it looks like dark and it's like the least dark story ever. Like it's the one instance of a cover totally misleading you on the story.
Okay.
And it's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy it so far, and I'm like really excited for the next issue, and like that's like
when it gets done, I want to read it.
Yeah,
it sounds good.
I look forward to buying it myself when it actually comes out collected.
Well, let's see. We're gonna have to. No, it's fine. We're gonna have to move on. But I would just. Like I was thinking about what I did last week, and like I got access, as people saw on the dojo, to Overwatch.
Yeah.
And I did want to spend 5 minutes licking Overwatch's nuts because, man, that game is fun. Like it was really fun to play.
I think I got access to it, but I just didn't.
You didn't play it?
Yeah.
Oh man, like I think that I wanted to make a point where I feel like, say what you will about Blizzard, right? I know like some of the WoW expansions, people don't like that, and there's people.
They're also upset about the shutting down the private server,
right, etc. I mean, there's a bunch of there's people that were upset about Diablo 3 or whatever, but I feel some of the parts of Diablo 3, and all that's fully justified. Yeah. But like I feel like whenever I play a Blizzard game, like they are, regardless of how you feel about the content, a lot of times, like. I think that they're this perfect example of like very well-made games.
Yes.
Like
yes.
Just the interface and how you choose stuff and the music and the art direction and the I was thinking about it today. I was like, Blizzard's never made a first-person shooter before, right?
Yeah.
They never made anything even remotely like that.
No.
Like WoW is a third-person, MMO, and Diablo's isometric, and what's the third one? StarCraft is top-down. So yeah, they've never made a first-person shooter. That was as good a shooter as I've ever played. In fact, it was so fun and so much fun playing all the different classes and playing the different modes that I really can't wait for that game to come out. And I guess it just shows where like I feel that Blizzard is so good, and they've spent so much time refining how to just like get a person into a thing in the easiest way possible, how to get you from zero to go, like in the shortest steps, and to make it feel real good. Like there's a
Oh yeah, no, I am a big fan of Blizzard. That's why I worked there for a while.
Yeah.
During their doing customer service for World of Warcraft and their other games, because I fucking love that company and it's great. And I don't work there, and the reason I don't work there is partially my own fault. So actually, let me rephrase that. It's completely 100% my own fault.
Okay.
But I if I thought they would hire me back, I would totally apply there again because I fucking love that company.
Yeah. But I swear, I didn't understand what Overwatch really was.
Yeah.
There's been a bunch of times in the podcast where I compared it to a MOBA. It's totally fucking not a MOBA. It's basically just Team Fortress 2, except instead of all of the characters being focused on, how Team Fortress 2 is everybody's got a gun and a second gun and then maybe an ability or whatever. Here they're divided up into different attack and defense and tank and healers and stuff like that. And so it's got it's more of trying to integrate. I'm sure there's been other games that have done this before. And even Team Fortress has done it to a degree, but boy, I mean, it just when you're doing well and your team is just rolling forward, or you're managing to hold an objective. There was one time that I was playing. I really need to open. I can't even open the game because when the servers went down for the beta test, I can't even log on to it anymore.
Yeah.
But there was a time where there's a mode where there's a cart. And it's like that Team Fortress 2, right?
Yeah.
And as the cart gets to these checkpoints, it'll stop. Or it'll you get more time. It goes through a checkpoint, and then the timer, you have 4 minutes to get to the first checkpoint, and if the other team can stop you from doing that, then the round is over. But if you get it there, then you get more time, you get it to the next one. And I was playing on that one where literally I was on defense trying to keep their cart from going. Their cart was right about to touch the goal line, and both teams were at each other's throats, because what happens is, even if the time runs out, if they're still if the other team is still alive and they're close to the cart, it goes into overtime.
Oh, okay.
To give them an opportunity. So because our spawn point was so close, the main goal at that point is you got to wipe the other team out, because if they're all away from it at the same time, then the round goes to you. And it was so frenetic. It's the tank is doing stuff. This person, and I was playing this really basic character called Soldier 76. It's just a gun and a grenade and stuff.
Yeah, I know who that is.
And his ultimate is you hit the ultimate and a big circle comes up, and then you just auto shoot anybody that's in that circle. And it was I was almost dead, and I was shooting, and I threw a grenade, and then my ultimate popped, and one person died. And I hit the ultimate, and I managed to kill 3 of them at the same time. And then my team took out the other one, and it was ah! And then we got to the end. Whoever does I don't even know how they gauge this, but whoever does the best thing in that round, at the very end, everybody gets to watch a replay of that play from their perspective. And it was me, and I was yeah, I did that. Whee! Anyway, so Overwatch, it was great, but we gotta get moving, because we got a lot to go over.
All
this
right,
thing.
let's do this. Come on.
All right. So first up, we got a couple movie trailers before we jump into the actual game stuff. And there's some of this stuff we may not go over entirely, but today, this Magnificent Seven trailer came out.
Yeah.
And boy, it looks good. I just
Yeah, no, I'm totally digging it. I think it looks great. I'm all for westerns, so if getting another western, I'm down for it.
Yeah.
And I've seen some people complain about the fact that it's a remake of the obviously of the original, and I'm you guys realize the original was a remake of Kurosawa's
Seven Samurai,
right?
Yep.
It was.
Yep. It's also a very classic story.
Yeah.
I don't know why anybody would be upset about that. I mean, that just to me is, you know what? Yeah, get out your spiral notebook, go into the backyard, throw it in the fire.
Yeah.
That's great. I don't know. I think the trailer for this looks super fun.
Yeah, it looks great.
Between Denzel and Chris Pratt and what's his name that plays Kingpin is in there.
Vincent D'Onofrio,
Ethan Hawke. It looks like it's just got a real good cast. And whether this trailer is lying to me, which it totally could be, it's all
I don't think it is
action packed. And
I mean, it's the director who did Training Day.
Yeah,
which is why both Denzel and Ethan Hawke are in it.
It looks super fun.
Yeah, no, I'm totally down for it. I like the way it looks. I'm excited.
What was the last Western movie to come out? It wasn't Lone Ranger, was it?
Oh God, no, I don't think it was.
What came out? What was the last big Western movie that we had after that? Django?
Yeah, I think it might have been Django.
I'm trying to think if there was something after. Hateful Eight, I guess, is a Western, right? It came out.
I was trying to not mention that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not looking for good or bad. I'm just looking for what was the last one.
Yeah.
But has somebody on the internet gone out and made the 90-minute version of Hateful Eight that cuts out like just these ponderously long shots that Tarantino? Ugh.
Also, I think like 100 Ways to Die in the West.
Oh yeah. And the dumb Adam Sandler one that I watched on Netflix, the Ridiculous Six or whatever. Yeah. God damn, that movie was stupid. All right. But yeah, I think this looks great, and I totally can't wait to go see it. Next, we have, this is very strange. This is a trailer for a comic event, like a movie trailer, sort of.
Sometimes they do this.
Yeah,
not
do
always. But Marvel,
So
they're really banking on this being a big thing.
Do you read Marvel comics, John?
I do.
Okay.
I actually read way more Marvel than DC.
Is it a mess right now?
No, it's fucking awesome.
Really? Okay.
Like, Marvel right now is the best it has been in a long time.
Okay, because I know that like even okay, so the premise of Civil War II in the comics, right?
Yeah.
Is that there's an Inhuman who can see the future, and you've got one half of the Marvel universe that wants to preemptively
basically wants to Minority Report it, where
right.
if he sees a crime, they stop the crime before it happens, and that guy's guilty.
Okay.
Whereas the other side's like, whoa, due process, innocent until proven guilty. You
sure.
can't, it's basically the Minority Report dilemma.
Yeah.
It's do you and part of the story, I mean, that's the base story. The other part of it is that he sees that one of the heroes kills another hero.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's part of the problem.
Is the
they're
hero
trying to? They haven't said who the hero is.
Is the hero that dies penance? That would be great.
No, because he's back to being Speedball.
Oh, is it Speedball? Speedball get killed?
I hope not, because I fucking love Speedball.
All I know is that it's so weird because I know that I mean I've heard this from a few other places, so I feel pretty confident saying this is a fact, right? You can back me up here. That because the movie rights for X-Men are over at Fox, that Marvel has been focusing on Terrigen Mist Inhumans because when they started off by saying that, it's like in any years past that guy would be a mutant, not an Inhuman.
So it's an. What you're describing is so Marvel would say no, they're not doing that because mutants are still around.
Right.
There are still a ton of X-Men books.
Sure.
Wolverine's still fucking in this trailer. He's a major, dead Wolverine, old man Logan, whatever you want to call him. Because technically, there's a lot of confusing stuff going on in the Marvel universe.
Okay.
Wolverine is dead, but Wolverine from the future is now back in modern times.
Somebody tried to explain to me a while back that the 60s X-Men were now characters in the modern books, and I'm just
all new X-Men.
Yeah,
really great book too.
Could be great. I feel like I can't even have an opinion without reading it because that sounds like the dumbest idea in the world to me. But who can say? I haven't actually read it.
But no. So but they have been kind of upping the focusing more on Inhumans, and the theory. And obviously, because they want to focus on stuff that they can make money off of, because they're not going to get the X-Men rights back anytime soon.
Sure.
Fox is, and Marvel has approached them and said, hey, we'd like to work with you, bring the X-Men into the Marvel universe, and we'd like to offer you the same deal that we offered Sony. And Fox just went, yeah, go fuck yourself. We're making all our money. And they're like, no, you get to keep the money you make with this deal. It gets to include, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
We don't want you to be working with us.
God.
It's kind of one of those things where like Marvel's kind of thrown their hands up and been like, well, I guess we'll just do this other thing. And so Inhumans are a little bit more focused in the comics now because of it.
Yeah. I don't know.
The Inhumans are the new mutants of the universe.
Okay. I really wish that there was somewhere that you could fucking pry that shit out of Fox's hands, because it would be really nice. It's such a big chunk of the Marvel universe. Like not having Spider-Man or I really want the Fantastic Four back in the MCU, but whatever,
That's the other one we need to pry from Fox's cold dead hands.
But not having the mutants, like that's such a big chunk of the Marvel universe. Like it encompasses so much that like I know everybody loves Spider-Man. Spider-Man, whatever, man. I like Spider-Man.
Well, Spider-Man's the most Marvel character there is. So.
Sure, but like I feel like you lose so many characters that could have very interesting effects on the MCU by having them all cut out. Anyway, I don't know. This looks like, I don't know. I know that original Civil War, I haven't heard that many good things about original Civil War, so I don't know if this is. I mean,
original Civil War was it's a fucking mess. The problem is that they came in with an interesting idea that whatever. The problem was less that it was less that the characters dictated the story and more the story dictated the characters, and so a lot of characters suddenly kind of weren't being written.
Like the way changed suddenly.
Yeah, it just seemed like didn't really fit the characters, and a lot of characters were making arguments that didn't fit their character, and it did a lot of damage to Spider-Man, I think, in the original Civil War. So I don't know.
Okay, well, we'll see. All right, let's get on to gaming news. First up, John. Did you see the 15-minute Star Fox Zero little anime
I did not.
Saturday morning
I kind of wished I
thing?
had, though, before we started this. I mean, I plan on watching it at some point. I just haven't gotten around to it because I'm such a nerd for Star Fox.
Okay. Well, Star Fox came out this week, and they released this kind of little, it's like a cel-shaded, kind of 3D cartoony thing. It's very strange, John, because, they excuse me, they did this thing where they have pulled frames out from the
to kind of make it look
like it's a poorly animated, poorly 2-dimensionally animated thing. Also, I can tell you right now that we're watching it right now, and I have the sound turned off on it. That they obviously, the English vocal work is very cheaply put over the. I mean, it's bad lip sync, right? It's like watching anime that's got bad lip sync on it, right? But it's okay. I mean, it's a little 15-minute thing that tells about Andros throws some stuff at
Fox McCloud and the Fox.
No,
Star
he
Fox
throws
team.
it at Corneria and Sergeant Pepper, whatever his name is, the dog guy. And so, the Fox team has to roll up in their R-Wings and blow up a bunch of stuff. And, it looks fine. The character stuff is a little weird looking to me, considering how smooth, the flying around and stuff like that is. This is pretty decent. I don't know. I feel like this is I like it when companies do stuff like this.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't watched the Final Fantasy 15 episodes
I watched
yet,
the first. There's only one that's been out.
Oh, okay.
They haven't released the whole thing. And then there's going to be a movie, I found out.
Yeah.
Done by the same team as Advent Children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be while they're on their road trip, all the stuff that's happening at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is pretty cool. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend. Go. I mean, it's fucking 15 minutes of your life, and it's on YouTube, and it's free, and it's relatively decent. I don't know about you, John, but I don't have the biggest nostalgia boner for the Star Fox franchise.
Yeah.
I played the first one, but I never had an N64, so I never played the N64 one, and I never played Star Fox Adventures because everybody said it was poop.
Yeah, no, it was garbage. No, I have a big affinity for Star Fox because what's funny is I never owned a SNES.
Yeah.
But when Star Fox first came out, I don't know if you remember, there was a big Nintendo did this big nationwide competition at Blockbusters in various game stores where it was you played this before the game came out. You played this competition. Would be to play Star Fox essentially to get the highest score. Mm-hmm. I actually participated in that and got pretty far in it.
Oh, nice!
So I kind of got obsessed with the game because of it.
Okay.
But I never owned a SNES when it was originally came out, so I never really got to play the original. And then a Star Fox 64 came out, and I fucking love Star Fox 64.
Yeah.
And so it's I'm kind of excited that we're getting a game that's kind of a return to form, but I've also not been hearing good reviews. So
as of the recording of this podcast, I have not yet played it, so I don't know. I've heard some not super great stuff. I'm going to try and reserve my judgment as much as humanly possible.
Well, I've heard every comment I've heard is that it's good if it had come out in 2002.
Okay,
which is basically saying it's good. There's nothing wrong with it, but it doesn't hold up to modern day standards.
Okay, I can see that.
Which I'm interested still to play it. I mean, it could be enough nostalgia that I'll enjoy.
I mean, we're gonna get it. We're gonna play it for the dojo, and then, as always, John, if you want to take my old Wii U games, you are more than welcome.
Well, it is what will happen
to take. I actually gave my copy of Splatoon to Brian Salisbury.
Oh, nice.
All right. Well, next up, speaking of Nintendo, so I don't know. You and I haven't talked all that much about this, John, but you know as well as I do, right, that Nintendo has been people are not happy. Some people are not happy with Nintendo's localization team for the things that they've been doing with a few different games.
Yeah.
Right? We're not really going to go into that. This is just kind of like a thing that I saw today where they talked about how the new Tokyo Mirage Sessions hashtag Fire Emblem or whatever is going to be localized by Atlas and not by Nintendo.
Okay.
So there was a statement by Nintendo where they basically said, Tokyo Mirage Sessions was localized by Atlas in a way that is consistent with the localization work that they do on games that they publish. It was a priority to ensure that the games feel similar and appeal to longtime Atlas fans, et cetera, et cetera. So, this is more of just a hey, the more FYI type of thing.
Yeah.
So for those of you who maybe were worried about that, Atlas is doing the translation. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's see. Next up, we got an interesting. Did you read any of this stuff this week?
Some of it.
Okay, so we've learned this week more about the PlayStation 4.5. My God, do I fucking hate this idea. All right, so here's what we know. Right now, they're calling it the Neo.
Yeah.
And they're going to be upgrading, so here's the thing. Let's see. The Neo would boost the PlayStation 4 CPU from 1.6 gigahertz to 2.1 gigahertz. The GPU is going to be enhanced as well. There's also going to be faster RAM. Like the RAM is going from 176 gigabits per second to 218 gigabits per second. Same amount of RAM, but they're just upping the bus and then improving the processor on both of the video card and the CPU. Now, they've gone and said specifically that what this is going to mean, right, is that it's going to be like the nearest I can think of it, right, is like an MMX type of thing almost. Like it's going to be so Sony has said that what this is going to mean going forward is that developers are going to have to make sure that all their games will run on a stock standard PlayStation 4. But then there's going to be like a Neo mode that's going to have slightly higher frame rate, slightly higher, graphical fidelity, etc. That if you have the PlayStation Neo is going to be able to run like that. For the 8th time, I think this is a fucking terrible idea.
Yeah, it alienates your
first adopter, your early adopters, right? Yeah. I understand that in the case, so I want to be very clear.
This is not the same thing as them doing a slim version of the console.
That is absolutely true. While it's comparable to the way that Nintendo, with the 3DS, the new 3DS, right? Yeah. That is obviously runs games better. There's some games that won't even run 3D on the original 3DS. Everything has been upgraded on that new 3DS. But I think that new 3DS was like $250, right?
Yeah.
This is going to be another $450 console.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get any trading credit for my PS4, right?
You probably get some trading credit. You're not going to be able to swap it.
Yeah. I don't like this because I don't like this because rewarding this means that they could do it a second time.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And continue to just try to chisel you into buying multiple consoles. As always, the thing that upsets me the most about this is the fact that this is the exact reason to buy a console and not a PC. If I was interested in dumping $400 into my gaming experience every couple of years, I just do it on the PC, right? Yeah. It's going to look better to start with, and then you're going to have to continually upgrade, your video card and stuff as time goes on. So, I don't know, man. It really leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
I agree.
And I'm curious because I think this is the first time. I guess that Sega had stuff like the 32X. But then
the Sega CD and the 32X, but that was
but then those things only ran on the 32X and the Sega CD. There was still stock standard. I'll be honest with people. What I'm worried about is that if I stick with the PS4, that the gaming experience that I'm going to be having is going to be noticeably worse than the people that
get this PS4 Neo.
Right, that get into this PS4 Neo thing, right? And that it's just like Sony throwing up their hands and going well, I don't know, it's a better thing. And it's but we have an established, non-written, but we have an established deal with console manufacturers.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy your console and then the games are going to run on your fucking console. And that when you buy this console, that it's not going to be for a year and a half or 2 years. It's going to be for like an extended period of time.
And you know what you have to, and I hate to say this, but you know who you have to blame for this kind of mentality, right?
Tell me.
Apple.
Oh,
it's the Apple mentality. It's next year we release a new iPhone. We've also released a new version of the iPad, and guess what? The old model of the iPad doesn't support new games that are coming out because we added all this new stuff to it.
I mean,
it's literally it's that. It's that.
Say what you will about, because with this, I feel like this whole topic came up when Microsoft started it by talking about the Xbox One. But if you are going to ram this thing down our throats, I like the idea of having a modular upgrade that I can plug into my console to bring it up to that standard, as opposed to having to go fucking buy a whole brand new console just to make it.
And I also wonder, how is this going to affect the PlayStation VR? Like, is my PlayStation VR experience going to be worse because I have the original console than compared to this PlayStation 4 Neo?
You know what? I was, as much as I was praising Sony for the cost of the PlayStation VR, it's not outside of the realm of possibility that they wouldn't come out and say you must have a PlayStation Neo in order to run PSVR. That would not be a thing.
I think that they're not going to do that. I don't think they're going to do that.
Well,
I think they've kind of come out and said that they're not going to do that. I could be wrong.
Well, fair enough.
I could be very wrong.
Sorry,
but I just wonder if I was to play it like a VR on an original, if I'm starting to see some frame rate issues or something, and then put it on a PlayStation Neo and suddenly, everything's fucking smooth and as a baby's butt.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it because the Xbox 360 that I have still is fine. It's the Xbox 360. I mean, okay, granted, they did do that thing where they went up to the Elite where they put the HDMI port on it.
Yeah.
After, I mean, when they started, everything was fucking component, right?
Yeah.
But my PlayStation 3 that's up there still runs all my PlayStation 3 games without a problem, and there's not like there was two different versions of the PlayStation 3 and one ran it better. I really don't like the idea because and it's the same reason I had this conversation a long time ago, John, and I know that there's going to be some people listening who are thinking that I'm overreacting, right?
Yeah.
And the reason that I get so upset with things like this is I had this really bombastically aggressive conversation with this guy I used to work with like 10 years ago about DLC, where I was like, fuck DLC. The game needs to come on the disc. I don't want you selling me stuff. And he's like, but it's a value-add experience and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, you mark my words, is that as this shit goes on, developers will start cutting parts out of their games or making it so that you have to get the DLC in order to get the complete experience. And, as much as games that I like fucking Bloodborne, the experience that you have when you have the old hunters in Bloodborne is way better than just the base Bloodborne experience. Mass Effect, like Mass Effect 3 with all the DLC added on, is a way better experience than the original Mass Effect. Yes, Mass Effect 3 by itself is a fully playable game from start to finish, but once you add all that other stuff on there, the experience becomes so much more engaging. And now I feel like we just take season passes and DLC as just a
it's there.
It's common, right? No matter how many times that people complain about, like, the DLC is already on the disc and then you have to just unlock it. We've been complaining about that for 10 years, and fucking game companies do not care because it doesn't keep anybody from buying the games. And so what I worry about is that this sets a bad precedent, the same way that $50 season passes sets a bad precedent, or that, pick any of the garbage things that have happened in the gaming industry, as Kickstarters that just go to shit. That's not a good example, but you understand what I'm saying, right?
No, I do.
Is that I hate the idea that once they get away with this one time, it's like, then they're going to get away with it a second time. Then they're going to get away with it a third time.
And then it's just going to be like, well, that's the way it is.
And then and then in 5 or 10 years, everybody's just going to be like, well, that's just how it is. You got to buy a new console every 2 years. I don't know you're living in the past, Grandpa. And it's like, if you could just say, like, no, you can't do this. Anyway, so I don't know. Let us know what you think. Obviously, I'm not a big fan. Also, they're like, oh, well, you need this to run your games in 4K. I'm like, who the fuck has a 4K TV? Do you know anybody with a 4K TV?
I do not.
I don't know about 4K.
Actually, no, I take that back. I do.
You do?
There's a 4K TV at my work.
Oh, okay. All right.
And we have a PlayStation 4 hooked up to it.
Well, I tell you what. Allow me to move from some bullshit to some other bullshit, John.
Oh, some different other bullshit.
Hey, there's a new game publisher called Game Trust, owned by GameStop,
Yeah, I think I'd heard about this.
to publish video games.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it. Because, okay, so GameStop has hooked up with Insomniac and who are the other ones? Tequila Softworks, Ready at Dawn Studios.
Yeah, they were the first game that they're releasing is the Song of the Deep game.
Yeah. The verbiage in here is not like 100% clear. I'm very worried that the only way I'm going to be able to play Song of the Deep is by downloading yet a fourth game client and creating a fourth game account with fucking GameStop, because I mean, that's the only thing I'm worried about. Like, I don't mind if they want to do their hocus pocus bullshit, but
I don't think that. I think they came out and said that's not what they're going to do.
That's not what it is?
No, if I remember correctly, it's basically the biggest problem I think you're going to see is that if you were to walk into a GameStop, you're just going to see like a wall of merchandise specifically made for that game because of...
Well, here's a quote from the company. Game Trust will revolutionize the game development and distribution process by offering a new way for independent developers to create and introduce their own IP to a broad gaming audience and for gamers to discover and enjoy exclusive new video game experiences. I mean, the Game Trust is full-on, it's a publisher, and they're not going to be involved in the actual creation process of the games at all. It's just going to be publishing. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, outside of Insomniac, I could tell you that the rest of those studios I don't really give two shits about. Ready at Dawn is the company that made Order 1886. And hey, you know what? Fucking, that's fine. Tequila Softworks made Deadlight, I believe.
Deadlight and Rhyme.
I hated Deadlight
a
lot. I just really didn't like that game at all. So I don't know. Maybe this will be all right. As long as they're not trying to do what I just said, be another Steam or Good Old Games or Origin or whatever. Like, the last thing I need is yet like another company shoving their distribution platform onto me. Especially because I really want to play that Song of the Deep game because it's real fun. But yeah, I don't know. I just is it? I mean, like what? Why? Is it because the retail stores are dying? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's that they're just trying to get another avenue of money.
Okay, I mean, if that's it, then
and if you have to go to GameStop is the only place you can buy it from.
No. That's good.
And by that, I don't mean like, oh, if there's a PC version, it won't be on Steam. I mean, if it's a full-on console release and you can only get it at GameStop because GameStop is the publisher of it, that's like you're not going to be able to buy it on Amazon. You're not going to be able to go to Best Buy or to
so
Walmart.
gross.
You're going to have to walk into a GameStop and buy it.
Gross.
And then
it's dirty.
their clerks are going to be like, you're buying this game. Obviously, you like it. How would you also like to add an add-on for this T-shirt and this miniature action figure and this other thing, the manual, the strategy guide, and a replacement plan in case all of this stuff breaks?
Do you want to know? Okay, so I look. I do go to GameStop to buy the physical copies of games because it's like the closest store to me.
Yeah, no, I know.
There's a GameStop right around the corner.
Yeah.
And I went in there to buy Ratchet and Clank last week, right?
Yes.
And I was in there, and they had a big stack at the front counter of Dark Souls 3 guides.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, but in like the previous ones, there have been these guidebooks that have information that's just literally not in the game, like enemy names and like some backstory or things like actually they're good to have, especially if you end up going down the rabbit hole of lore and stuff like that, right? Well, they were all shrink wrapped, and I said to the guy, I was like, do you have one of these that's open so I can look at it? Because I want to look at what is actually in here. Because if it's just some Prima, in order to beat Vort of the Boreal Valley, roll under him and hit him in the crotch a bunch of times. Like, I don't need that. Yeah. But if it has some, like, some nifty art or some backstory or some, some flavor text or whatever, I'd buy that. It's $40. And he was just like, no, we don't have any open ones. And they're, like, full of things, so I can't let you open one of them. And it was just like, the one time in my life that I was at a GameStop and I wanted to buy the strategy guide, not even prompted, of my own volition, and no, you can't look at it. I was like, motherfuckers.
Yeah, so
anyway,
But yeah, that's probably what's going to happen with that's my prediction of the future.
Boy, if you have to go to a physical GameStop to buy these things, then...
I mean, you'll probably be able to download them on like PSN or Xbox, Xbox Live or whatever. Just like if they're like downloadable style games.
Boy, I bet all these games that come from these companies are just going to be like front and center at the GameStops that you go to.
Yeah, no, totally.
All right, well, now let's go ahead and we are probably... Oh, yes, we're fucking way behind. Let's jump into a bunch of trailers. John, the first trailer we have here is for Pyre, the new Supergiant Games game.
Yes, for the makers of Bastion and Transistor. I forgot Transistor's name for a second there, and it's even on the screen.
Yep, sitting right in front of you. This looks really cool.
Yeah,
it's super goddamn creative. Apparently, it's some kind of like you play as a character that's been like exiled, and you meet up with these three other characters that know of this like competition where if you win the competition, then you get a pardon where you can like quit your exile.
And you play as all three characters?
I don't have
an amalgam of all three characters?
No idea. It's hard to tell. Like I can't tell hardly at all what's going on.
Two
here.
games in, they've made two great games.
Yep.
And I'm already on board. Like all you had to say is, "Hey, the makers of Bastion and Transistor are making another game." I was like, "Cool, I'll get it."
Yep, they got a free pass in my book right now until they fuck me up. I didn't like Transistor as much as Bastion, but I still fucking love Transistor.
I will say I love Transistor's soundtrack more than I love the game.
Okay, that's legit.
And what's also interesting is the trailer for this is the same composers from the Transistor, which I'm all for.
Yep.
So.
Go check it out. I mean, like the one thing I could say about all of their games from Bastion 2
look pretty,
is that they look so unique.
Yes,
like
that's actually a good point.
Such a very unique art style. Even here, it looks like we've got a bunch of like wizards and stuff, but everything is just...
And I mean, even if you look at just their games, like it looks different from everything else you see out there, but at the same time, it looks different than the games they themselves have made previously.
Yeah.
Like Bastion does not look like Transistor. This does not look like Bastion or Transistor.
Yeah.
Just everything is so different and stylized and pretty and nice.
Yep. So I will totally play it because it looks real cool.
Yeah, I like it.
Also, I will probably buy the soundtrack because you're a fool if you don't buy the soundtrack to Supergiant. Supergiant Games is some of my favorite. All right, next up. Are you ready for the next trailer, motherfucker?
Oh, yeah!
The new Lawbreakers Between Our Guns gameplay trailer. Now, for those of you at home who may have forgotten what Lawbreakers is, this is the next Cliffy B joint.
Yeah.
And it looks like Bastion with Bastion. It looks like Overwatch with a lot of swearing in it, honestly, John.
Well, I love the fact that Ice-T is the
narrator.
The narrator in this.
Yep.
And like his monologue that he's given reminds me of his character from Johnny Mnemonic.
Yep, sounds just that stupid.
And like I'm just like I am like that's all I had to see. I was like, I'm on board. I don't care what this is. Tell me that Ice-T is playing a character or is the narrator of the game, because fuck, I will play that.
Yep. So the last trailer that Lawbreakers had was like it was all about how like gravity was messed up and then there's criminals and blah blah blah. This was just like guns and explosions and fucking And actually, it's funny because as I watch the trailer, it does look like one of the elements of this game seems to be more verticality that you get from a normal first-person shooter because everybody's flying, or they're flying through the air, they're jumping real high.
They're breaking the laws of gravity.
They're breaking all the laws.
Hits the name.
Yep.
Boom.
It's so crazy. I mean, it looks like an arena shooter, basically, right?
Yeah.
It actually, it's funny. I'm going to say the same thing I said the last time Lawbreakers came up.
Yeah.
I trust Cliffy B. I really want to play this game because I trust Cliffy B more than a lot of other... Like, the last time Cliffy B did a new thing, we got chest height cover in every single game that came out for the next 4 years afterwards, right?
Yeah.
So
we got fucking Gears of War.
Yeah. So if he can do it again with like arena shooters that's like flying and jumping and flying and jumping and jumping and flying and explosions and explosions and explosions and flying and flying and jumping, great. Do it. Fine. It looks
we
like
put our trust in Dude Huge.
That's right. It looks like a hell of a good time. Like it looks like UE4, right? It looks all nutty. You know what it looks like? It looks like the Paragon to Overwatch's Heroes of the Storm, right? Or something like that. But yeah, you guys, if you haven't seen this trailer, you should go watch it. There's a lot of very gratuitous swearing in it. Not that I have a fucking problem with swearing over here, but it was just like I'm watching it and giggling. For some reason, in this trailer, it seemed dumber than it does in other places.
I just realized it's like I just heard like Ice-T say one word, and I'm like, well, I'm on board. Let's do this.
Yep. So, and we were talking about this before we started. Please, Cliffy B, get it's Ice-T? Q.
Ice-T? Yeah,
is it Ice-T?
It's T.
Get Ice-T to be the Unreal announcer for this.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
if he's not
great.
already, if that wasn't already the plan, I hope to God.
Yes. Please. So, yeah, this looks great. You know what? We're already running late on time. There's a Hitman trailer for episode 2. It just reminded me that Hitman's a thing and that I really wish they'd released it as a full game.
Yeah.
Because
actually, finish the game before releasing it.
Yep. Probably not going to end up playing it. Not super excited about the Hitman Episode 2 Sapiens launch trailer, but what I am excited about is this goddamn Mafia 3 trailer.
Mafia 3.
I know that there's a lot of people out there who really like Mafia 2. Or maybe it's the Godfather game that I'm thinking of.
You might be thinking of the Godfather game,
cult thing that everybody seems to like. Where
I know everyone liked
one?
the first Mafia game. I remember Mafia 2 being a huge disappointment.
See, I played Mafia 1, and the fact that you couldn't drive more than like 30 miles an hour, it didn't.
Well, Mafia 2 was the same way.
Yeah. Anyway, fuck a bunch of that. This trailer, this was called One Way Road, One Way Road story trailer. This trailer's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Like, it's got the Preacher Man, and it's got, they tried to kill him, and then he's going to come back, he's going to burn the mob down, and he's driving a fucking big old burn notice car, and hanging out, and then shooting people with a shotgun right in the bellies and throwing people around, and damn, this game looks good. You know what? One of the things I was actually noticing in all the trailers that we were watching today, John, is that the face tech is getting really good.
It's
these
getting
days.
good, yeah.
But yeah, this game looks absolutely incredible.
Yeah, no, I'm totally on board for this game. It looks really good. They announced a release date, which is October.
Yep, October of this year.
Yeah.
The action looks fun. I mean, it looks like an open world kind of revenge. The one thing that I think is kind of interesting is in the first Mafia, you were in the Mafia. In the second Mafia, you were in the Mafia.
Yeah.
This guy
one, you're hunting the Mafia.
Yeah, is destroying the Mafia.
Yeah. And I kind of like that. I kind of like it's a revenge flick.
Yeah.
I also like because one of the things you see in the trailer is there's two scenes where he has a shotgun, and one of them he takes it and grabs it and shoves it in the guy's stomach and then pulls the trigger.
Yeah.
But then the other one he kind of tosses it in the air, grabs it by the barrel, and then beats the guy with the end.
Hits him. I thought that I thought it was a bat the first time I saw the trailer,
and I was just like, holy shit! If I could do that at any time in the game, that's gonna be fucking awesome.
Yep. So yeah, I think that because we don't have. So far this year, let me just think about it here for a second, John. Do we have a crime open world game, something that's kind of because last year we at least had the PS4 and Xbox One release of GTA 5 and PC
Payday,
release,
and also Payday. Payday 2.
Yeah, but Payday wasn't open world. That's very
true.
kind of arena.
True.
I'm trying to think of open world games so far this year. Kind of crimey open world games. Oh fuck! I forgot to put something on the news. Fucking all right, Mafia 3 looks great. There's probably going to be a Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh yeah,
I forgot to put that on the whole news.
Oh shit! How could you forget that? There was a leak.
That was oh man, I should have had that. It should have been front and center. That should have been the story. Star Fox. Fuck Star Fox. There's probably going to be a Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, apparently there was a leak of a map.
Yeah, I haven't even really looked at this, but apparently, let's see. Last week we saw a leak of a supposed Red Dead Redemption 2 map, showing locations and an apparent tie-in with the 2010 game. So yes, maybe. I'm going to say maybe. I don't know enough about this. I didn't look into it. I'm very sorry. Maybe I'll look into it during the break and then come back and I can tell you more. But hey, if there's a Red Dead Redemption 2, I think that would be a really good move on Rockstar's part.
I think it'd be awesome, and I'm gonna be honest. I said this. I've said this before somewhere.
Okay.
I don't remember where I said it, but
well, you and I have
E3,
only recorded thousands of hours of audio. So.
E3, Microsoft's press conference. I am willing to bet you
Red Dead 2.
Rockstar comes out, doesn't show anything, says Red Dead 2 is coming out. It may not be exclusive. I'm not saying it's going to be exclusive, but I guarantee you they're going to be like, oh, and anyone who buys it on Xbox One will get backwards compatible of Red Dead Redemption and Undead Nightmare.
Okay. Yep.
That is my prediction. I think that's going to happen.
That's solid money, man. Solid money. Well, because, in the past, Microsoft has had their deal with Rockstar, right?
Yeah, like Rockstar even went out on Sony's stage that one time for that game, whatever it was called. And
the Agent.
Yeah, and then it never came out.
No, make the Agent still Rockstar, please.
Yeah. But the only reason I'm thinking that it's going to be a Microsoft thing and not a Sony thing is I honestly believe that Rockstar doesn't really make E3 announcements.
Sure, so, they don't have
they really don't.
Yeah.
And usually when you see them, they usually just walk out on stage and go, "Oh yeah, this is happening," and then walk off.
Right.
But at the same time, we know, because of past things that have happened, that Red Dead Redemption was being worked on to make sure it was backwards compatible with the Xbox One.
Oh, yeah, that's correct, because it showed up on the list and then got scrubbed, right?
I'm willing to bet they were working on it because they were working on that deal.
I bet you're right. I bet you are absolutely correct. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I could be wrong, but that's my prediction.
I tell you what, because we know that like GTA 5 has not had any story DLC, right?
Yeah.
But in GTA 4, the story DLC, was it timed exclusive on the 360?
It might have been.
I remember what's his face? Peter Moore got the like Rockstar tattoo
or
the
have been.
temporary tattoo or whatever it was.
It might have been.
If Microsoft could come out and say Red Dead Redemption 2, Xbox One, and
1 year exclusivity, like with Rise of the Tomb Raider,
DLC exclusivity or something like that. Oh, well, I don't. There's no way that they could get full console exclusivity for something like Red Dead. I mean, like Rockstar would be making a big mistake.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Doing that, like no matter how much
unless
money,
Microsoft was just throwing a shit ton of money at them.
I don't think they can. Look at how much money Grand Theft Auto 5 makes, and you go, Microsoft doesn't have the amount of money that it would need to do to make it a console exclusive.
But no, if you're saying like DLC,
but DLC exclusivity, timed like 30 days ahead of time, like the Call of Duty stuff, that would be one of those things that I feel like would be a great move for them because the Xbox One needs more reasons for people to buy it. And that would be a good reason for people to buy it.
Well, and again, if that has that, like every copy comes with, the ability to get Red Dead Redemption and Undead Nightmare for free, well then, shit, that's going to make people buy an Xbox One because now they don't have to dig out their PS3 or dig out their Xbox 360. They can just play it on their Xbox One.
Have you done any of those backwards compatible ones?
They all work fine.
Do they look any better?
No.
Or are they pretty much just exactly the same?
They look exactly the same.
Okay.
Like they're not upscaled or anything like that. But they play perfectly fine.
All right. Fair enough. All right. So we got. I decided to skip a couple of these trailers because we're already way over time. But hey, there was a new Zero Time Dilemma trailer. Which, John, you said you have
I've never heard of this.
Ever heard of this franchise before. Now, I have, but see, it's weird. Apparently, this was like a really clever, interesting, gritty visual novel that you had to play like multiple times from different perspectives, and it was kind of like a Saw, but then it had some like time stuff in it and whatever. It was on the DS, I believe, and I never got a chance to play it. And then the sequel for it came out. Never got a chance to play that either. And this is the third one. This trailer is weird. Like, there's parts of this trailer that, like, look... I mean, there's a lot of, like, bloody, gory craziness going on in here. And kind of characters saying, like, real weird stuff. And it seems really interesting.
I'm not going to play the hero no more. Why? Because I grew up.
On the other hand... the voice acting is atrocious.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it's really not that good. So I'm actually really interested in this one because it's coming out on the PC.
Yeah.
And I as long as they have the ability for me to switch it to Japanese for the language, I'm fine with that because if it's bad Japanese acting, I won't be able to tell, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's real interesting looking. I've always been really interested in trying to play these, but it's just... like, I'm not going to dig my DS out of the garbage can to play this, but I don't know. What did you think when you saw it?
It looks like a visual novel game.
Yeah. I mean, apparently
Looks like Saw
the first one like
with the Victorian like medic guy.
Oh, Plague Doctor.
Plague Doctor.
Yeah.
Instead of whatever the fucking puppet is.
I heard. I mean, back when it was like years ago when Patrick Klepek was on Giant Bomb, and somebody managed to get him into the first one's called like. It was like 9 days, 9 hours, 9 minutes.
Oh,
like that. That's the first one.
Okay, no, I've heard a lot of good things about those
You've heard
games.
about that, yeah. Just haven't had a good way to play it. So I don't know. If this comes out, I hope that's good. I hope that I get a chance to actually take a look at it. All right, next up, we're just about done with trailers. No, actually, we've got 3 more. Hey, Tracer is in Heroes of the Storm.
Yes.
John, I have to say that between the Alive short film, playing Overwatch, and this particular trailer, Tracer is becoming one of my favorite new characters in video games.
Yeah, she's great.
She's real cute and adorable. And in this one, she's zipping around the world of Heroes of the Storm, looking at Murlocs.
And she's just like, this place is amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Just like super, super cheery character. And yeah. There's a question in this particular trailer. Apparently her abilities in Heroes of the Storm are going to be teleportation, and then she's going to have the bomb. Apparently it's almost exactly the abilities that she has in Overwatch, which actually last week I saw. It was really funny. I was showing my sister the trailers, the Alive trailer. The Alive trailer for Overwatch, the one with her and Widowmaker in it.
Yeah.
Like everything they do in that trailer is an ability that those characters have in the actual game itself, which was pretty cool. There is some question, though, at the end of this about whether they're going to be bringing Widowmaker as well.
Well, it looks like Widowmaker may be a skin for Nova.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, but I don't know. It is a pretty funny little ending, too. So, yeah, there's that out there. I haven't played Heroes of the Storm in a while. I maybe need to load that back up and give it a shot. But all I really want to do is play more Overwatch. Next up. Hey, Guile's going to be in Street Fighter V. Apparently, if you bought the season pass, you're also going to get the airplane stage.
Yeah,
it's got the big fighter behind him. John, you're a little bit more into Street Fighter than I am. What do you think about this particular news?
I mean, we all knew Guile was going to be part of it. It was part of that leak that came out a long time ago.
Yeah,
that pretty much every character that was part of the DLC was pretty straightforward. It looks, and as far as the moves and stuff, it looks pretty. He's got some new stuff. They've evolved him a little bit.
Does he kind of move a little bit while charging a flash kick? There seems to be like add a sonic boom to a sonic boom type of thing.
And it seems like he's got some interesting abilities. I don't know. Like it's Street Fighter.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't really know what else to really say.
It honestly looks like more Street Fighter.
Street Fighter is fucking solid.
Yep.
And now that they have some of the other modes starting to be in there, cool.
Yeah, I might need to take a look at that in like a month or two just to see what's going on. To June. Okay. They also said that they are they're still refining their ability to keep people from rage quitting.
Yeah.
Currently, they're saying
that's kind of been a big issue.
That they are going to have an algorithm where if you do it a bunch of times, it's just going to lock you out of matchmaking for a while, for like a limited amount of time. Seems kind of interesting. I always like the idea of banishing people to servers that only have other rage quitters on it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I like. I like it when companies do that, when they're like, okay, you be an asshole, it's fine. You go play with all the other assholes. What the butt? Last up on the trailer train, Insomniac released a couple of new trailers for VR games.
Yeah.
Insomniac this week, like Song of the Deep. What was this one called? Unspoken.
Unspoken, yeah.
And whatever that third one was.
Weird 6-fingered hand thing going on.
Yeah. Apparently this is going to be like a wizard duel that uses the Oculus controller to be your hands. Looks pretty cool. I'm not a huge fan of motion control, but I feel like I like that Insomniac is getting in on this because I've looked at the launch lineup so far for the Oculus. Well, actually, I don't even know because the Vive has a shit ton of games on Steam, but I don't know that any of them really caught my eye. Like, I've looked at a bunch of them and been like, I'm still really waiting for a company like Insomniac to make a full, like, solid AAA game from the ground up that has VR support.
Insomniac's a good publisher, so,
Yeah. They're the ones that made Ratchet and Clank, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That game's fucking good.
Also, a couple of other games.
Resistance.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. If you have an Oculus, I think that this looks like it could be real fun, depending on how much it is.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Let's whip through the rest of these. Mercury Steam announced a new game called Raiders of the Broken Planet. It's going to be an asymmetrical multiplayer game. This is the company that was made by the developer for Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
Okay.
So later this year, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. It's being described as a distinctive blend of shooting, brawling, and thinking man's strategy. It's about a planet that contains a powerful substance called LF that everyone is fighting over. I will be absolutely 100% honest with you, John. I thought that this was the guy who split off from what's his name that originally made Castlevania.
Okay.
I thought this Ikaragi, right?
Ikaragi, yeah.
I thought this was his studio, not Mercury Steam. So let's just pretend like that never happened, and everybody can just go on with their lives.
I would need a trailer before I could get excited for this.
Absolutely.
Lord Shadow 2 was garbage.
All right, so Mirror's Edge Catalyst has been delayed.
Again.
Yep. If you were looking forward to that, it's going to be pushed back to June 7th, as opposed to what was the original release date?
I think it was coming out in May.
Let's see. After moving to May 24th, from an original release date of February 23rd. So all you people wanting to play the new Mirror's Edge. Excited for the new Mirror's Edge?
Not really. I mean, I'm kind of I want to play it, but I'm not like chomping at the bits to play it. But I kind of want to play it.
I liked the original Mirror's Edge for a while, but it kind of wore a little bit. It was kind of a one-trick pony, and as time went on, I felt that was a game that really could have benefited from a few different things. An upgrade tree would have been one of them. An open world would have been one of them. If it had been a Metroidvania game where you get the ability to do different moves right as you do stuff, I think that would have been really cool. All right, we'll pour one out because let's see. We're gonna get through the rest of these real fast. Pour one out, John, because the Xbox 360, they're done.
They're no longer manufacturing Xbox 360s.
That's right. If you don't have one and you want one, I recommend getting one now because, they're done.
They're just going to sell off the rest of what they have, which, they probably have a lot.
Yep. Probably quite a bit of stock left over. I'd say, now's a great time to pick up something, especially if you never had one, right? If you could find one for cheap. Because it's not it's a solid system.
Yeah.
I have my Xbox 360. Matt and I are playing Vanquish on the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
So.
Only reason I ever stopped playing my Xbox 360 is because it died and I had to buy an Xbox One.
Yes. Please don't buy a first-gen Xbox 360. Did they fix that shit in the later ones where, if you move the console at all, it just it gouges the game or whatever?
I don't know about that, but I know that they did fix. I think they did.
Okay. And we got a few just fun little things here at the end. We got a new world record for Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, speedrunning.
Yeah, which I watched. It's all of 4 minutes and 57.627 seconds. I think you all should go watch this video for nothing else than the fact that the guy gets super goddamn excited. He does something on one of the worlds where he starts to realize that if he gets it all right, he's going to get the speed record.
Yeah.
And also, the motherfucker makes playing Super Mario Brothers look goddamn effortless because it's just jump, 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 done, jump, jump, jump. I think at 1, maybe 2 points in the entire video where he stops just running forward with the B button held down.
Yeah.
But, congratulations to Darbian on that. That was impressive to watch. I recommend everybody go check it out. And last but not least, we got a couple of Dark Souls announcements. One,
of course.
Dark Souls 3 DLC coming fall of 2016.
All right.
Hopefully, so far the DLC for Dark Souls has not. I've never been disappointed with any of them, even Dark Souls 2. So I can't wait for that. It was the only time in the history of my entire lifetime, John, where I was like, I should just buy the $80 version that has a season pass in it. But then I was like, no, Jeff. You tell the people not to buy season passes. Don't buy a season pass. Even though this is the one publisher that's never doinked me at all on DLC. And last but not least, as you pointed out to me earlier this week, John, the Dark Souls board game went to Kickstarter. Was looking for, what were they looking for?
I think they were looking for 70,000,
$70K or something like that. 70,832. Wow, that's a very specific It's down to the number goal. And as of the moment of recording this, they're a $1.5 million.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that there's really only 3 backer tiers. There was an early bird backer tier where you could get the game at a cheaper rate, which it's all gone.
Yeah,
which was only available for 1,000 people.
Yeah,
and there was just buy a version of the game, basically, and then a retailer version, which you would get 6 copies of the game, but you had to also provide proof that you are a retail store. Like you have to, or else they basically cancel your pledge. And so those are the only 3 ways to back this, or now it's only 2 ways to back it, and they still got over. Like it's
over double.
Yeah,
it's over doubled.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I look at the stuff for this. I can't entirely. You know what? I kind of wish.
You should probably watch some of the YouTube videos.
I probably should
because they actually show people playing the demo version.
Okay.
And tell you how it is played. Combat is actually you actually have stamina cards and things like that, and you actually have to manage how you attack.
Yeah.
And attack in certain patterns, and you have to manage the boss patterns and things like that. So it is like playing Dark Souls.
Yeah.
But just on a board game.
I think that
miniatures.
I think that the thing that maybe is a little bit off-putting to me is that I wish that they had focused on Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, or Dark Souls 3 instead of, because here we've got, when you look at the things that they have here, the 2 bosses that they quote fingers bosses they have at the top of the list are the Dancer of the Boreal Valley and Executioner Smo and Dragon Slayer Ornstein, which Ornstein and Smo and Dancer of the Boreal Valley I feel like are both very iconic bosses, but they're also the middle of the game bosses. They're not even late game bosses.
Yeah.
Also, as far as the characters that they have, the Knight, and most of these are Dark Souls 3, and then they've got all these weird
mini bosses.
Well, when you look at these mini bosses, right? You've got an invader. Well, that's just generic invader, right?
Yeah.
You got the Frost Giant, which is
Frost Knight
from Dark Souls 3, Wing Knight from Dark Souls 3, Gargoyle and Titanite Demon from Dark Souls 1. There are some Dark Souls 2 things in here, but I almost feel like it would have been I don't know. My particular experience with Dark Souls is one where I feel like all 3 of those games have different flavors to them, and I kind of would have rather them just picked one of the flavors for the game. But I don't know. I'll have to take a look at it. I mean, at least congratulations to those guys for getting their shit, getting their Kickstarter backed. I might have to go out and buy this just to get the little Ornstein and Smo figures to put on my... Dude, if they made a Skylanders version of Dark Souls, or I could put my little Ornstein on the thing, that would be great. I would totally buy it.
We would never see Jeff ever again. And he would, he would be homeless and just live with his little minifigures.
That's correct. I would buy the shit out of it. And that is all of the news stories that we have. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Ratchet and Clank, and then we're going to answer questions.
Okay.
So stay tuned, everybody! And we're back! Are you back, John?
Yes.
You back?
Yes.
You ready?
Yes.
You ready for the listener questions?
Yes.
Okay, well, we're not there just yet.
Oh.
Because we're going to do a little... I didn't play anything last week to talk about, but or I didn't play anything week before last that I could talk about on the podcast. But last week I played Ratchet and Clank on the PS4, so I can give you guys a little mini review of Ratchet and Clank. So hey, for those of you who have never played Ratchet and Clank before, Ratchet and Clank is a third-person action game
kind
from
of a
Insomniac.
little bit of platforming, a little bit of action platformer.
Yep.
Yeah.
About the last Lombax is basically just kind of a little Catman guy named Ratchet and his little robot friend Clank. And this is actually a reboot that I feel like is going to tie into the movie that's coming out at the end of the month. Now, I've said this a bunch of times before, but I don't know if I've said it out loud on the podcast as much. I think I said it when I was playing this with Matt, but I don't know how many people know this, John, but I fucking love Ratchet and Clank. I played every one of the games that came out on the PS3, and I feel like they were all just solid-ass games.
Yeah, no, all the Ratchet and Clank games are great.
No, none of them had any, super... I mean, just, really well put together. It's kind of like what I was talking about Overwatch and Blizzard, where it's just, very solid mechanics, real, good story that is appropriate for all ages, has jokes that I can appreciate as an adult, but that would also be totally good for kids. But this is a reboot, basically retelling the origin story of Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet wants to get into the Galactic Space Rangers, led by the biggest, maybe one of the biggest video game assholes of all time, Captain Quark.
Yeah.
And he is kind of denied his chance, and then has to kind of go through, he's living on a planet. He's the last Lombax. He's like doing these things. He's like working in a repair shop. He likes to fix stuff, and he tries to go out for the Galactic Rangers. Captain Quark's like, no, you don't have enough upper body strength. And then like Clank, a misproduced war robot, falls to the planet, and they become friends, and then you go on a big adventure. So the game is set up in kind of an interesting way where you have a ship that you take to a bunch of different planets. I think there's something like 9 to 12 different planets in the game. And each one of those planets usually has like a main quest, and it's got some sub-quests that have like so many things to do. And the biggest thing about Ratchet and Clank, the thing that I feel like is one of those things that I can't say about all games, right? Is Ratchet and Clank is just constantly giving you something new to do.
Yeah.
Right? Like, here's a place where you're going to fly your ship for a little bit. And then here's a hoverboard race. And here it's like you're going to be, you're trying to escape the water that's filling up. And all the while you're getting upgrades. And the biggest thing is that, I feel like it's almost I feel like it used to be a thing with most Insomniac games where it's like you have a ton of different interesting weapons that you can use.
Yes.
You've just got like a pistol, and you got a grenade, but you've also got the sheepinator that turns enemies
Ratchet
into
and
sheep.
Clank was always known for its interesting weapons.
Yeah, the saw blade gun.
Like that was even for one of their games. That was one of the marketing campaigns. Was like real life people creating the guns.
Oh, from Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
Well, and then it's interesting because, as with everything in this franchise, it's like, okay, so Ratchet levels up as you play. You just have an experience bar, and as it levels up, when it gets to the top, you basically get more health. So as you play longer, it's easier. Your weapons all have a level up bar as well. So the more you use your weapons, the more they upgrade, and then you also pick up bolts, which you can use to buy new weapons. You also pick up rare titanium that you can use to basically it's kind of a little mini game where you circle certain attributes, and then it'll unlock newer powers. So like the basic gun, the combustor, right, which is your basic like shooty gun, right, upgrades like 5 or 6 different times, and then there's like as you go through the game, there's also these cards that you collect now, where you collect them, and you can use duplicate cards to buy the cards that you don't have. When you get a set of 3, you either get a bonus of like plus 5% to all of the bolts that you pick up, or for the weapons, individual weapons, you get the ability to basically in New Game Plus buy the Omega version of the weapon, because all the weapons go up to level 5, but then in New Game Plus you can buy the Omega version that goes up to level 10, and blah blah blah. It's so fun. Like, it's just really a super, super fun game. There are a couple of minor complaints I had with it. I feel like, I can't tell if this is for certain, but I felt like some of the cutscenes might have been pulled from the movie, and so there maybe seemed like there's a little bit of a disconnect from time to time, but not really. It's a solid, fun adventure. Oh, I do feel like I watched a video online, and they said there's things that get stuck in my head, right? There's not a lot of characterization between Ratchet and Clank, whereas like I feel like in some of the later games, like there was the one that had the Zoni in it, who were the ones who like made Clank or gave him his these kind of otherworldly beings. That there wasn't, it's like they just kind of meet each other and then like, hey, we're best friends forever. And it's like, all right, cool. I mean, maybe a little bit more of that would have been nice. But, there's like little areas in the game where you'll play specifically as Clank. He has his own set of little puzzle solving things.
Yeah.
I got really stuck in one place in the game where I just could not figure out what the fuck the game wanted me to do.
Did you have to go look it up?
I did go look it up. And when I figured out the answer, it was like, oh, well, that's how that mechanic works, but you just never explicitly laid it out to me, and I didn't catch it. And it sucked because it was during a Clank segment, and he kept saying this thing over and over again to try to tell me what to do, and I just couldn't understand what the fuck it was. But yeah, very solid. I feel like it's got a lot of replay value because you can go back through and you can in the New Game Plus mode, all the enemies are harder, but then you can buy all the Omega versions of the weapons, and then you also get a multiplier that goes up depending on how long you can go without ever taking a hit. So the further you can go without taking a single hit, then the more bolts that you get. There's a bunch of different levels. Like the game's cool in that at a certain point, they give you a little radar that lets you find where all the hidden stuff on every level is. So you can go back. And you don't have to, search the 4 corners of every single map, to find everything. And it's $40. It's not even a full $60 game. Like it's great. There's one other thing that I was thinking of that it just looks fantastic, sounds fantastic. The controls are really good. Like I feel it's like the sort of game that if you're looking for just a rock solid, third person kind of platformy thing.
Yeah.
Real super fun game. Like I played it, beat it, then started playing the New Game Plus mode and got about 3/4 of the way through the game and then went, maybe not more. But, there's like a whole level where you just have a jetpack where you can just freely jetpack around the entire level.
Nice.
It's like, it's super, super fun. Highly recommended. I kind of want to get away from number scores. So, like, if you are a fan of Ratchet and Clank or if it's been a while since you played one, I feel like this one is totally worth it. And for $40, like, I feel like I shouldn't harp on that too much, but that's less than your normal $60 plus DLC game, and it's got plenty of good stuff with it. So,
nice.
Go check it out. All right, now on to the questions. mail@rageselect.com is the email address. And hey, folks, we were real short on questions this week, so if we don't get to a question that you sent in, send it in next week. We always need questions. Keep sending them in. This first one comes in from Yeti13, who says, "Hey, Jeff and John. Sorry for the long post."
No. Hold on.
Yes.
You need to actually read what he wrote there. Not and John.
He put it in brackets.
And insert sexually arousing co-star here.
Okay, that is what he wrote. Yes.
Because we all know I am sexually arousing.
That's true. That is true. John,
like
everybody knows that John
sweet molasses
is the sexiest man on all of Rage Select.
You're damn straight.
Sorry for the long post. At the point of writing this, I'm about to finish up Dark Souls 3, and I have a question for you. As you might remember, I was the one who talked you into being a mage for the Sunday stream a few weeks ago, and it led to some difficulties. It did. After playing through the majority of the game as a cleric, it feels as though the game punishes magic users hard in the early game and then makes their lives easy in the end game. I felt that it was more balanced in Dark Souls 1 throughout the game, and I'm wondering if this was a knee-jerk reaction to the magic is easy/OP that is often brought up. I like playing a mage because I find it fun rather than being a straight-up fighter. While I love Dark Souls 3, there's a nasty part of my brain that wants to rate it lower than it deserves because I'm being punished for playing my way. Do you think I'm being fair, or do you think I need to just accept that the game wants you to play a certain way, then branch out later? Praise the Sun's Dong, Yeti13. P.S. for new players, start out as a knight or a herald, then spec mage/cleric towards the mid-game. Not sure about pyromancers. Yeah, I feel like it's been a thing that we've been hearing a lot, that mages have been really tamped down, especially in the early game of Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Should you? It's really kind of interesting. Like if the class that you want to play in a sequel, right, has been intentionally nerfed to the point where it feels like it's a lot more difficult, which it does in the early game feel a lot more difficult than it does in the previous. I mean, like, the first boss in the game is that giant knight guy that kind of comes at you, right? And when you're a mage, it's really hard you have to really be on point with your dodge game, and even then it can feel really difficult to get through him. On the other hand, I was playing very much a strength build, and then about halfway through the game when I hit the Boreal Dancer from the Kickstarter, I had to put on a bunch of shit to try to be a mage because I just couldn't deal with that guy face to face. But I don't know. It's kind of an expectation versus
implementation.
Yeah, and to be honest, Yeti, you remember when we were playing through Dark Souls 2?
Yeah,
lightning was super OP,
and then they
patched it. Yeah. So there's nothing to say that they're not going to go in there and maybe patch up some of the magic, or maybe just change the way that it scales with your stats in the early game.
Yeah, but also I felt like when they nerfed lightning in Dark Souls 2, you went and found something else that you never would have tried previously.
Yes.
And ended up being something you were like, holy shit, this is like 10 times better. I don't even know why I didn't do this in the first place.
Yeah, I'm always looking for that one super overpowered thing. And so in Dark Souls 3, I have this... Oh, man. John, I got so mad last night. I was playing Dark Souls 3. I was trying out a new build, a kind of a sneaky build, like an assassin with a bunch of different things. And I got to this area, and I wanted to kill this computer NPC invader that comes into your game.
Yeah.
And every time that I would go human, the same person kept invading me and killing me. And I don't like PvP in Dark Souls, right? I usually just stand there and let them kill me because I'm like, I don't fucking care. Like, I don't like to do this. You guys are way better at this than I am, and I don't like to feel shitty about it, right? And then finally, I got upset the last time that he invaded, and I went to I went as far back in the level as I possibly could towards where it had cut me off to make the level an arena, and I used this thing that turns me into a thing that looks like the scenery of the area that I'm in, and then just went around like the last corner and transformed into it was like a gravestone, right?
Yeah. And
I just put the controller down. And this motherfucker spent 40 minutes looking for me and finally found me and killed me. And I was just like, well, fuck, man. Fine. I've used up 5 of my embers just trying to get this one thing. I guess I just won't do it in this playthrough. Anyway, I'm sorry. It's just a tangent, just a little salty.
I know. I don't understand.
Yesterday.
As far as
as far as the question goes, let's see. He says, do you think I'm being fair, or do I need to just accept the game wants you to play a certain way and then branch out later? It's hard because normally I would say you can't bring your preconceptions into this, except for the fact that Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2 both worked a certain way with magic, where Dark Souls 3 worked a very different way with magic. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good question.
It is a very good question. I mean, I guess I kind of feel like I feel like you got to kind of take it. This is the vision of the game developer, right?
Yeah.
So if they felt, like I know that Miyazaki has been stated, has been quoted as saying like he never wanted people to use shields in the original Dark Souls, which is I feel like where Bloodborne came from was like, all right, fuck you, no shields, nobody gets shields.
No, it totally was. He said as much.
But I guess maybe they always felt that like magic should have been. I mean, maybe the whole point of magic in Dark Souls was the fact that it was supposed to be like, yes, you're able to hit really hard, but the glass tank, right? You don't have any defense. You don't have a lot of defense against the things that are coming at you. You're supposed to be using this magic, but you're also supposed to have a downside to that. But with people getting super, super goddamn good at dodging, right?
Yeah.
Then it becomes a sort of thing where it's like, well, it's no problem. I'm just going to roll over here and destroy the last boss in the game. Kind of like parrying, I guess.
Yeah.
So it felt like because they adjusted parrying quite a bit in Dark Souls 2.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of feel like unless Yeti 13, I guess the way that I feel about it is unless they went in and patched all of Demon's Souls, Dark Souls 1, and Dark Souls 2 to be similar nerfs on magic as Dark Souls 3, you can always go back and just play those games that way.
Yes.
And go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm saying I agree with you on that.
And if magic does indeed get better as you go along, which I was playing for 3 hours and I got frustrated and just spec'd my guy as a tank eventually, but if magic does get better the further you go through Dark Souls 3, I feel like that is more of a truer progression for a magic build in the way that I normally see it in video games, where it's like it's harder early on, but then you do reap more rewards as time goes on, where you invest like it's a harder startup cost, but in the end it's going to be way more powerful.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean it makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. I wouldn't rate it any lower. You just gotta take the good, you take the bad.
Facts of life.
It's what it is.
The facts of life.
It's the facts of life. Next one comes in from Vova, who says, "Hey, Jeff and John. Recently, I've been seeing a lot of disparate opinions on the Doom open beta. People loving it, people hating it, jokingly calling it Call of Doom. I want to ask a question, not specifically regarding this game, though. Are, quote, modernizing a game and, quote, appealing to a modern audience two different things? Or am I just overthinking it? I think this question could also include Fallout 4, the Tomb Raider reboot, Double Fine remasters, and maybe the Resident Evil games. Thanks for all the awesome content and for being awesome. Rage on! Your loyal fan of Vova. Yes. Are modernizing a game and appealing to a modern audience two different things? Yes.
Now one can do the other, but you don't have to do both. Like you can modernize a game and still appeal to the old school audience.
Absolutely.
But you can also appeal to a modern audience without. But they're subsects of the same thing, kind of thing.
I feel like they're different. I feel like I mean, modernizing a game, you could take a game and keep the core of what the game is, and then update it so that it's more. I mean, like there are plenty of old games that I find hard to play just because they're so kludgy and just like menus and systems and reloads and save points and stuff like that, where you can bring some of the modern conceptions that we have about actual game design into the game without removing the core of it. And in a lot of cases, I feel like the quote appealing to a modern audience is more about altering the core gameplay style to make it more accessible. Like if you have something that's not very accessible, about altering that to make it the sort of thing that more people can enjoy, making it maybe broader or even appealing to a different audience than maybe the original did, or a wider audience. I feel like any time that you're appealing to a wider audience, you necessarily have to. Let me make sure that I agree with the statements coming out of my mouth. So my brain works faster than my mouth works faster than my brain. Okay, you double check me on this. I feel like most of the time when you are appealing to a wider audience, you necessarily have to not dumb down, but kind of like flatten out your game so that it's not like. What am I trying to say? You can understand what I'm trying to say here?
I have no idea what you're trying to say.
Okay, like if you have a game that's very I don't like to keep using Dark Souls as an example, but I'm going to use it as an example. If you have a game like Dark Souls, right, and you're like, people love the shit out of this game, but we want more people to buy this game than just these hardcore crazy people who play Dark Souls, right?
Yeah.
So you're trying to appeal to a wider audience, that you're going to have to make the game more approachable, which may then alienate some of your previous audience by taking out complexity or streamlining mechanics in a way that I don't think that has to happen all the time, but I feel like more often than not, that's what I hear in my head whenever I hear them being like, well, we want to take this and bring it to a whole new audience. And it's like, oh, good. So you're going to make it so that babies can play it. That's what you're going to do. I don't know. To me, that's what that nomenclature means, is just we're going to make it easier.
Yeah.
But then modern video games really aren't all that hard in the first place.
Yeah. Now, I mean, the weird thing is like the first part of the thing, which actually has nothing to do with the question he's asking, which is, the Doom open beta, and some people are referring to it as Call of Doom. I don't get that comparison.
I saw a lot of people that seemed like they were very upset with the Doom beta.
I don't understand. I mean, everyone they're making it like, oh, it's just Doom with Call of Duty mentality. No, actually, it's Doom with Halo mentality.
I didn't feel like,
but faster.
I didn't feel like it really compared to either. Like when we were playing it, the closest thing that it appealed to was that Toxic game.
Yeah, Toxic.
That was more like a Quake / Doom style.
Yeah, it's fast paced. It's not, when I say Halo, I say more Halo in the way it looks. The look and style of the game kind of reminds me more of Halo.
I mean, there's no iron sights, right?
Yeah,
like outside of the sniper rifle, there was no iron sights.
No, but it's totally it's Doom.
I mean, I guess there was a level progression, if that's what they're talking about. But like, dude, come on, that's like, what you're gonna unlock everything in the first 3 hours that you're playing the game. What the fuck is your problem? Outside of that, it looked like most of the unlocks were just cosmetics, right?
Yeah.
I guess there was the card system was in there, but then that's not even a Call of Duty thing. I don't ever remember Call of Duty having like the whole booster card thing. That was a thing that was the closest analog I could think of to that was like Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, right? Where you had the cards that you
Halo
could burn.
5.
Oh yeah, and Halo 5, absolutely, yeah. But even Halo 5's cards were more egregious, because that was like starting you off with
it was
a better weapon, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this was just like a little bonus for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
What the fuck is people's problem with the Doom beta?
Yeah, that was.
I mean, I thought it looked good, and it
made me want to buy the game more.
Yeah, played real solid, and why would you call it Call of Doom? I mean, it didn't. Like, when I was playing it, at least, it didn't seem like it was going easy on me in any way, shape, or form.
I hate Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I don't like online multiplayer Call of Duty. I've never liked it.
Sure.
I mean, I like some of the single-player stuff, but I've never liked online Call of Duty. I fucking love the online multiplayer for Doom.
Yeah.
That was the furthest from Call of Duty I could find.
That's a little strange.
Yeah.
I don't know. As far as the rest of his question goes, Fallout 4, Tomb Raider reboot. I don't know. Did Tomb Raider reboot do a lot of? Well, I guess it modernized.
I thought that was modernizing a game, but I don't know if it appealed to a modern. I mean, it might have, kind of.
But I feel like the I have no great love for the old Tomb Raider games. So the new Tomb Raider reboot, I was like, seems good to me. You know, you got this open world and you're doing stuff and you're leveling up and
I guess the Tomb Raider reboot is kind of is both. It is modernizing a game while at the same time appealing to a more modern audience.
Yeah.
Because if you made the same Tomb Raider game but with like better graphics and you're not necessarily but like better mechanics but the same like level system design.
They did that though in the one right before the reboot, right? Where it was like
it didn't do very well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was a bad game or anything, but yeah.
But no. So, but Fallout, I think, is a good example of I don't know, appealing to a modern audience. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. I still don't have any idea what the fuck. I mean, Fallout 4 isn't a bad game by any stretch of the imagination, but there's just parts of it that, like, I don't understand why they changed that special system so much. I really don't. Like, it seems weird, especially considering the way that all of the other Bethesda games have worked to date. It just seems very arbitrary. I guess you could say that, like, as far as like modernizing goes, that Fallout 4 had that. But the characters all had a voice, right?
Yeah,
and that voice was one voice that you didn't have multiple different voices. It was all the same voice. So regardless of whether you're Almond Space or generic white guy number 6000,
or Hulk Hogan,
they all sound like the same generic white guy.
Yeah.
And then the other one I don't entirely understand, Vov, is the whole Double Fine remasters thing because
those are just HD re-releases. They're not changing the way the games are made or anything.
Like Day of the Tentacle, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I guess that would be more. I guess falls under the modernizing a game, right? Where they took the whole bottom section that used to be all the verbs, right, and then just implemented the new scum system and kind of just made the game take front and center on the screen and stuff like that. I don't know if people had a problem with that either.
No.
Resident Evil is actually probably a good example of the bad side, though, right?
Appealing to a modern audience without, the
way that between Resident Evil, like if you compare 4 and 6 and the way that 6 was so much more action oriented, when it was one of those things where you're almost like, why are you doing this again? Who told you that they were sick of Resident Evil being scary and they wanted it to be more like action, machine gun thriller? Anyway. All right, our next question comes in from Joe, who says, "Hey, gentlemen of the rage, with the rebooted Ratchet and Clank game out, I'm glad to see that most critics passed on using the easy looks like Pixar comparison that got old 4 years ago. I wanted to ask if you guys disliked / liked any other easy go-to comparisons when talking about a game. I'm a freelance writer, so when I get PR emails saying a game is GTA meets Minecraft with a little bit of Spelunky mixed in, I get so disappointed that developers can't think of a better way to pitch their games to the masses. Thoughts and much love, gentlemen, Joe."
Oh, I actually have something for this. I'm going to let you go first, but I actually have something for this that doesn't go towards games. It goes towards something else. But
okay.
But yeah, if you
want me to go ahead, I don't know. I feel like there's a reason that we do that. That it's not.
There's a reason Jeff always compares everything to Dark Souls.
That's right. It's the Bloodborne of Dark Souls. Joe and I got off on that. It's the Bloodborne of Metal Gear of Dark Souls. No, I feel like there's a very clear reason why people do that, and it's because when you say Minecraft, it immediately evokes a thing in your head.
A feeling,
Right. So if you say it's like Metal Gear meets Transformers, and you're like, okay, so it's a bunch of robots and they sneak around and there's guards. Okay, yeah, I got what you're talking about.
It's an easy way to understand.
Right, as a shorthand. Like I really don't think that people, well, even no, I think even press releases could have that in it because it's instantly going to be more evocative than being like, because the alternative, Joe, I feel like, is using generic words to describe your game that are going to evoke way less emotion than the comparison does. Like if you were just going to describe, Dark Souls, right? Without comparing it to anything else, it'd be like it's a third-person action RPG. That's very difficult.
Well, it's like I got one for you, and I'm not describing any game here,
right?
But if I were to say it's Bastion meets Diablo,
okay,
that puts an image in your head,
sure,
of what that game should be,
absolutely.
But if I were to say, well, it's It's an isometric action game narrated by a guy.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, you could probably spend a lot more time. You could spend a lot more time trying to think of better descriptions than what we're saying here. But at the end of the day, just saying it's like X game means something to people, especially big games. Like if you say, well, we're making a game that's, okay, let's say we're making a game that's like a futuristic action game, but it's got Guitar Hero elements in it. That's going to mean something to people's brains.
Trying
to think
don't know if that would be necessarily
a good thing or
It's like an on the rails shooter mixed with Guitar Hero.
Right.
That's a real game, by the way. I own it. It's not good. It's got Neil Patrick Harris and Felicia Day and Rob Zombie.
What the fuck game are you talking about?
I forget what the fuck it's called, but I actually own it. It's like Neil Patrick Harris is the main character, and then there's like a player 2 character voiced by Felicia Day, and Rob Zombie is also a character, and some Rob Zombie songs are in the game, but all the rest of the music is like public domain. It's fucking terrible.
Is it a rhythm game?
Rock of the Dead?
Okay.
Or something like that, but it's essentially just an on-the-rails shooter.
Okay.
And you're just playing music, and it's causing damage, but you're basically doing, like, there's a little highway that comes down, you have to play the guitar music. It's fucking terrible, and I love it. I think it's called Rock of the Dead.
Wow.
It's great.
Okay.
It's great.
Yeah,
It's a fucking terrible game.
Never heard of that before. That's so weird. Well, anyway, did you have something? You have something else for this?
Okay, as people know, I'm a huge comic book nerd.
Okay.
I actually used to be really into the comic book industry. Like, this is part of the reason why I became a podcaster talking about comic books for a while.
Right.
Is because I would go to every convention that was in Texas. I have tons of friends who are in the industry, struggling indie people, some people who are actually working at Marvel and in DC now and things like that.
Right.
But there was this one guy, love him to death. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's an indie guy, and used to crack my shit up because of the way he would pitch his books. Like, people would walk and goes, I got the book for you. It's like Twilight Zone on crack. You're going to love it. And then, like, the next year I'd see him, oh, man, my new book, it's like The Walking Dead on crack. Like, that was his pitch for everything.
I'm sensing a pattern here.
Yeah, it's like, or like he shared a table with another guy. He's like, my book, it's like, something on crack. But this guy's book, oh my God, it's like history, like Greek mythology, but on crack. And it's like, dude, what?
So you're saying he liked crack a lot?
Apparently,
was a big fan of
crack.
I
love that descriptive. I mean, it's a terrible descriptive. So it's like it became a long running joke with a lot of us. Every time we talk, it's like we go somewhere new to eat and be like, "So how's the food?" Well, you see, it's like Taco Bell, but on crack.
Dude, I would try Taco Bell on crack. Goddamn.
But yeah, like it was literally one of the most ridiculous descriptors I've ever heard.
You know what? That, if you were to say, oh man, you have to go see this movie, and I'd be like, oh yeah, what's it like? He's like, it is like John Wick, but on crack. That means something to my brain. Like that.
So basically crank.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, perfectly.
You just described crank.
Yeah, crank. What's it like? It's like John Wick, but on crack. And I'd be like, great. I know exactly what I need to know. So instead of having to sit there and give me like a 20 or 40 word summary of what was going on, you're just like, oh man, John, I need to see Hardcore Henry. I just remembered that.
Yeah, no, I need to see it too.
Anyway, it's like Doom, but on crack.
Yeah. So that is a descriptor that is played out.
Okay.
But yeah, I just
yeah, it's just shorthand is all.
It is.
I'm kind of curious right now. I want to look up what kind of reviews
Hardcore
Henry got.
I've been hearing that
51 bunch of squares.
I've actually been hearing that it's a fun time. Like, it's actually just a lot. Like, if you just go in wanting to enjoy a movie, like, you're going to have fun.
If you're not a fucking square from Dullsville,
if you just go in and watch the movie, you're just going to enjoy yourself.
Oh, there's no characterization here. Why do I care if the robots die? Anyway, our next question is from Jamie, and Jamie says, hey, Jeff and John, I've been playing through Mega Man 2 for the first time, and I truly love the game, but it took me so many deaths and continues to reach Dr. Wily's fortress. Even now, I'm still stuck on one difficult platform jump in Wily's Fortress Stage 1, where I have to use item 1 and keep missing the ladder. This made me wonder how much more difficult games were back in the day compared to now. Do you guys feel like there's an element of challenge and patience lost in games today? Thanks for taking the time to read this and keep up the amazing work. Sincerely, Jamie. P.S. If you know the jump that I'm talking about, I could use some tips. Jamie, the last time I played Mega Man 2 was when it came out. So
I suck. I love Mega Man 2.
Yeah.
I love all the Mega Man games. I've never beaten a single one of them.
Really?
With the exception of Mega Man X. I've beaten Mega Man X.
Mega Man X is
so good.
It's so good.
I actually beat it. I didn't beat it on the SNES, but I beat it on the when they did the PSP re-release of it.
Oh, okay.
The Mega Man X remastered.
Yep.
Fucking love that game.
It's
I played
so
the
good.
shit out of it.
So good.
But yeah, so Mega Man 2, I own it. It's a great game. I couldn't help you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But as far as games being easier now, yeah, kind of. Until Dark Souls came along, Dark Souls and Demon Souls. It's okay. So there is a level because you also got to understand that when console games were first, when the original Nintendo, when that was becoming the thing,
Yes.
a lot of developers, and even in Japan, were still used to the arcade mentality.
Absolutely.
Which was make it super fucking hard to get them to put more quarters in.
Absolutely.
So when they released those games on consoles, or even developed games for consoles, they still had that mentality.
Yep.
And unfortunately, in a lot of cases, you had games that were just fucking difficult. Some games, like the Mega Man franchise,
Sure.
it's actually a benefit for the game.
Yeah.
It's actually like a great thing that it's as difficult as it is.
Sure.
Some games, like Battletoads, it was a detriment to that game.
Sure was. Never beaten Battletoads. Don't fucking care to.
Fucking the jet ski thing, the Wave Rider, the hovercraft thing, whatever the fuck it was. Fucking terrible level. Anyways, but I think as they realized the fault with that, they found an equilibrium. So I don't think it's necessarily that games are easier. It's that they're not trying to make you have to restart.
I get exactly what you're saying. Totally agree. I feel like it's a difference in the focus being on, like, in previous games. And you know what? I love the fact that I feel like I have a slightly different mentality about video games because I came from that era, because that was the NES was like, that was my first big console, and I played a shitload of games, and some were too hard. Like I just, never beat.
One of my favorite games I've never beaten, it's hard as fuck, Comic Zone on the Sega Genesis.
I cannot tell you, I mean, for those of you who don't know, I can play the shit out of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out when I was a kid, but you only get one shot at Mike Tyson, and that motherfucker knocks you down in one punch, and he's fast as shit. Owned the game, never, and I would just play it, and then I get frustrated because...
Shit, I still play that game.
I mean, when Mike Tyson knocks you out, it's like, well, back to Glass Joe, and fucking 4 hours to get over to Mike Tyson, But yeah, it really depends on. It's a difference of what you want the player's experience to be, and I feel like modern games these days are more about more about immersion into the game world as opposed to reflex fast. I mean, there's still games like that, right?
Yeah.
Like Super Meat Boy is a perfect example, and there are games that are difficult, but I feel like there's more people. What's the best way to describe this? It takes a certain, like, I'm not even to a point anymore in my life, like when the last Mega Man game, like Mega Man 9 or whatever, came out on the PS3 or whatever it was, and I got it and I played a little bit of it, and I was just like, this is a Mega Man game. I'm now no longer interested in playing a Mega Man game anymore because I feel, I have problems with Spelunky because of the way that Spelunky is so freaking difficult. And I feel like when you lose all of your progress, I'm not willing anymore. I'm less willing to go back and start the whole thing over from the beginning. Like, I'm willing to die on the same boss 50 times in Bloodborne to get past them, to learn their pattern or do whatever. But if when you died on a boss in Bloodborne, you had to go start over at the beginning of Bloodborne, I wouldn't fucking play Bloodborne because it's hard. It's too, maybe this is the appropriate thing. When I was a kid, I had all weekend to do nothing but just sit in front of the TV and play video games. Now I'm a 38-year-old man with a fucking life. And granted, my life is playing video
Sitting around
games.
playing video games?
A lot of the times, yes. But there's still other things that you have to do. Like, when I was a kid, Mom would give you a peanut butter sandwich for lunch and cook dinner, right? And somebody else was doing your laundry. And somebody else was doing whatever. So if you got your homework done, like on Friday, and got parents to rent you a game, you'd just fucking waste the entire weekend, not have to worry about doing anything but that. Whereas now, I have responsibilities, and I feel like my time. That's maybe the big difference for me is I feel like my time is precious.
Yeah,
and that if a game has an error that makes me have to go back and play through the same area that I just got done with a second time, I hate that shit. Like if you lose 4 hours in Fallout, I have to just turn Fallout off for a while and be like, I'm not doing all of that over again. I just got finished doing that. So I do feel like games are easier these days than they used to be. But then I don't know, because I feel like I don't play games on hard. Who knows? Maybe if you just play every game on European extreme difficulty, they're just as hard as they used to be, and fucking go fuck yourself. I mean, hell, games like we just got done recording Battlefield Gothic Armada. I don't know if you noticed it, but when you started up the game, they had the difficulties, and then below the difficulty, they had a checkbox for Iron Man mode, which from XCOM is like, if you die, you're dead.
Yeah.
Diablo 3 has a mode like that, where if you die once, you're dead. XCOM has that, obviously. Whereas if
Fallout's about to get that survival mode.
Yep. So I feel like there's games out there that will totally cater to that. It's just that I feel like maybe the answer to Jamie's question here is that the default difficulty of games has been lowered. But I feel like there's still plenty of experiences out there that are probably even harder than they used to be back in the old days.
Yeah, I can get that.
So. All right, this next one comes in from Euro Salamander, who says, "Greetings, O mighty Rage Lords, loyal fan and Patreon subscriber here from Sweden. First off, I want to thank you guys for the hundreds of hours of entertainment you provided over the years, and I often listen to one, maybe even two podcasts over the course of my workday, and it really helps break up the monotony. Hey, thanks. My question today is, if you have ever experienced a beautiful moment of poetic justice in a multiplayer game. By this, I mean if you have ever been continually pestered by another person in a game, only for something really bad to immediately happen to this person. As an example, I have a story of mine below, but you can skip it if you feel it would be a bit too long for the podcast. I don't know. What do you think? Should I read the story?
It's up to you.
Okay. This happened in an old Battlefield 2142 game, one of my personal favorite games of all time. We were playing on a server that had no friendly fire on, and the map was Gibraltar. In this game, there was a trick you could do with the game's version of C4 to launch yourself onto the highest roofs in the map and then rain down death on the other team with impunity. This trick was actually forbidden on the server, but within 5 minutes of starting the match, a squad from the enemy team rushed past our defenses, got up on the building by one of the flags, and proceeded to camp it, killing anybody that tried to take it back. I reported this to the admin, who promptly asked me to invite him to my squad. I did so, and we immediately used the same trick to get up on the building and kill the whole enemy squad along with their spawn beacon. We then proceeded to launch an unending stream of rockets and grenades onto a nearby base, making it impossible for the other team to take that flag as well. When I asked him if this technically wasn't against the rules of the server, he replied, turnabout is fair play. Gotta love players who believe in balancing the scales. Have you had any similar experiences? Best regards, Euro Salamander.
I'm sure I have. I honestly couldn't remember. I know, I mean, I know there's probably go back and watch videos where we've all played multiplayer of something, like Smash Brothers or something, and I'm sure there's been some weird, comeuppance for something.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've told this story in a while, but I was playing. This isn't really a comeuppance story, but I was playing. God, what the hell? It was Counterstrike. I was playing old Counterstrike, and we got on this server where, they had Half-Life monsters in the map, and I was playing on the terrorist team, and I think that the entire team was doing this thing where they all lined up in a straight line and then jumped kind of like a worm.
Yeah.
And somebody on the voice comms had the Popeye the Sailor Man song coming over their voice comms way too loud, and the whole thing was just completely fucking berserk.
Yeah.
The entire team agreed to use nothing but pistols and then did this worm while the Popeye song is going, shooting at the enemy team, and then meanwhile one of the fucking Half-Life 2 Half-Life 1 big monsters was just wandering around killing the hostages. It was one of those things where it was just I don't know what the fuck is going on here, but this is great. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Because I love it when like shit just doesn't get taken seriously. I love playing games where nobody fucking takes it seriously. That's why without a specific story. I mean, I have some stories about multiplayer, but like there was the one time where I was playing Halo 4 multiplayer with Kevin, and he was driving the ATV, and he drove up to me and he was like, get on, and I was like, all right. So I got on it, and all he would do is he would just drive as fast as he could to the enemy base, and then somehow he would flip it over.
Yeah.
And we tried to turn it back over and get up on it. So I got killed like 3 times that way, and then he rolled up to me and he was like, get on, and I was like, I think I'll take the next one. It's quite all right. Oh, actually, in that game, there was a good one where I managed to do one of those things where I spent like a good 5 to 10 minutes working my way into the back of the enemy base without actually getting shot and killed. And that giant robot from Halo spawned, and I managed to get into it, like their one at their spawn point.
Oh, nice.
And got a good like 5 minutes worth of just like until I was blown up. But no, I was going to say is that like when I was playing Overwatch, nobody seemed to be taking it too seriously. At one point, I remember taking it too seriously, but then I was like, oh, fuck it, who cares? But when we played Star Wars Battlefront on Sunday streaming, I fucking love Star Wars Battlefront because it seems like, there are people that are really good at it.
We had
but
a lot of fun on that stream.
Yeah, like it's just, I feel like in Battlefield, in Call of Duty, in Team Fortress, or some of the other ones, I don't even know, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's just taking that shit, especially in fucking Call of Duty, so goddamn seriously. So seriously. And like, I love that if Star Wars Battlefront is a bunch of babies who don't know anything about computer games just flailing around having a bunch of fun, I want to go play with those babies. Wait, that didn't come out right. I want to go play Star Wars Battlefront, not like the people who take it so goddamn seriously in Call of Duty.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there's probably been a couple comeuppance things in Star Wars Battlefront where we've been just like getting murdered by one specific guy, and then just like right as we get killed, he gets blown up by a grenade that we happen to drop or something like that, and it's just like, ha ha ha!
Yeah. Oh, man, I got to tell you that back when, this isn't a specific story, but back when Call of Duty Modern Warfare first came out, that ability that when you die, you drop a grenade, for a while there at the very beginning was so satisfying because nobody was used to it yet, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you just equip that thing and then just constantly be like, ha 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 ha, you dick, you fucking jerk. Actually, I tell you what, the probably the best answer to that question was that story that I was telling you about when I was playing Overwatch, and we managed to get the enemy team off of us. All right, this next one comes in from Marcus Jones, who says, hello, Jeff and John. I saw Jim Sterling's recent video about crunch periods and how higher up people are out of touch about working in the industry of content and creativity. This video hit the nail on the head about how hard it is on trying to make a living with things you want to do, that other people try to exploit those with passion working for this industry or any other form of entertainment. Okay. I'm 26 and I've had my fair share of D-bags that did this to me, and I wanted to know what was your worst memory of this and if there was a lesson you learned out of that experience. Thanks for answering my question. And is Demon Soul supposed to be this freaking annoying? Marcus Jones. And then he made like a demon face or something. I don't even know what character that is. Have you ever been in a situation where people have where you've been exploited for had your creativity exploited for a very little amount of money?
No, not creativity. Probably just, because I didn't know any better. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, my first job, which I worked for an internet service provider, I've talked about it before.
Yeah.
I probably had, like, because, again, it was one of those things where I didn't know how businesses work, and I just thought, oh, this must be how, corporations work, big technology places, and worked more. I worked some hours unpaid. I worked I did stuff that I probably shouldn't have done, and then once I left there and went and got a job at Dell, it was like, holy shit, like, what was I doing at that place? Because this is how a company's run, not how that, oh my god, kind of thing. So it was, I can't really say any specific stories. Now, having said that, I had a lot of fun at that first job. Like, there's a lot of great memories I have working there, even though I fucking hate that company and glad that it no longer exists and is out of business. But,
I remember I had, when I worked actually for Sony, it was a weird thing because it was SOE. I was doing QA testing for them.
Yeah.
And I was going to school at the same time. And like, okay, this was explained to me up front. My boss there was like, you have to work 40 hours a week. You're not going to be a part-time. You're going to be a full-time employee. You're going to need to work 40 hours a week. But you can work them whenever you want to. Or be real flexible. Like if you need to leave, go to class, and then come back and work the remainder of your shift, you can totally do that. Kind of a grind though, because you talk about working a full. Like before that, I worked part-time, so it was like 20 hours and go to school. 40 hours and go to school is it's almost like my bosses didn't entirely understand that like going to school is not just go to class and then leave class. There's homework. Yeah. There's art projects where you have to spend an entire night drawing and shading and coloring and animating and hot glue guns and shit.
Oh, I almost killed myself when I tried to do 40 hours a week and go to school or go to college because I did it the stupidest way possible. And again, at that first company, I somehow convinced them to let me work 2 8-hour shifts back to back, 2 days in a row, and then work a third day in a row where I only worked 1 8-hour shift.
Oh, good
so
point.
I would literally work 40 hours in the span of 3 days.
Yeah. Eesh.
And then I'd have the rest of my week off. Now, that was great, but those 3 days...
Oh, yeah.
I actually had to, they were like, I don't know if we can legally do that. And then like someone said, well, if he signs a waiver saying that he won't like sue us,
right,
and that this was his idea because it was my idea, I was like, I'll do it, sure. Like because again, I was stupid, didn't know any better, and,
sure.
And again, it was my decision. I was like, well, this is the only way I can figure out to make it work because I got these weird hours because I got college classes that are in the morning and some that are in the evening, and I go on Monday, I go on Tuesday, I have a class on Monday, Tuesday, or I have classes on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Some are early in the morning, some are late in the evening. I can't fucking work a job during those days, so kind of thing. So,
anyway, that kind of came to an abrupt end when I started to understand that, like, when they were going to launch, when they were going into crunch time, that they were going to want me to work crunch time. Yeah. And I was like, you're basically saying, like, you can either go to school or you can have this job. And so I was like, all right, I can't, you're going to work everybody here on an 80-hour work week. And I'm supposed to work 80 hours and go to school? Like, fuck, no, I can't. I'll fail the classes that I'm in, or I'll get fired. So bye. I actually feel like I think it's incredibly shitty. I think it's one of those things that, again, I'm a big fan of. Like, don't ever take this shit for granted. Of like, crunch is horrible.
Yeah, it is.
I saw my friends after I left there go through a crunch time. I've seen a couple of people for a couple of different companies go through a crunch time, and I'm just like, that shit is terrible.
Oh, no, it totally is.
Bad for morale, bad for the product, just bad. It's financially bad. It would be better if you just scheduled enough time to actually do the things within the amount of time that you're looking for. Like, it's a terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah. No, it's very bad, and it's kind of a big thing because there was also an article that was written by some guy that was like, "Oh, you people shouldn't complain about crunch time because all you're doing is you're being paid to make art, and you have it so fucking easy, and CEO people, you should just exploit this because if they don't want to do it, don't worry, there's 6 other people that'll take their place," kind of thing, and then everyone's coming out going, "Fuck you," to that guy.
Yeah. The thing is that
because there is such a thing as like it may not be they're like they just sit there and click on a mouse button and it's like it may not be physically exerting, but there is such a thing as mental exertion.
Absolutely.
Fucking I've had mental breakdowns before due to mental exertion, and it's not fun.
Dude, I saw my friends who were basically, they would just spend like 6 days a week at work.
Yeah.
Like they would just stay there and then sleep under their desks and then get up and test more and sleep under their desks. And it's like, that shit taxes you. The brain has to be able to cool down, and disengage. You can't just work people like that, or you can, but you will break them. You will ruin the job for them, as far as whoever this dick face is that's saying that stuff, like, this is just a person who has no idea what art is, because it's not, art is not instantaneously fulfilling. It's not like, oh, well, this is a person who has a cartoon idea of what an artist is and just doesn't fucking know anything. I mean, the only thing that I get that's kind of close to this was, I guess one time I was with a team that was doing a for hire project for a client that was an animation / art thing. and we learned on that particular day that you must specify up front in the contract that you sign what number of revisions you will do before you start charging more.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to chisel infinite revisions out, and they were trying to chisel it with that horrible shit where they're like, that's not entirely what I was thinking about. And it's like, well, what are you thinking about? And they're like, well, more, like left and right and less up and down. And it was just like, that doesn't mean anything. Those words don't mean anything. Is the head the wrong shape? Is that what your problem is? Do you not like the way that it turns? Would you like it to be a different color? Is the background wrong? It's like, just try something else and then let us know. And I was like, yeah, I think that was the point where I had to get. Well, I don't know. It was a long time ago, but I remember it in my head of me getting very firm with all the people that were on my team of like going in there and being like, you get 3 revisions. You're going to need to write down what it is you want changed, and after that, you're going to give us more money. But it was a bad situation because that company had fronted us money up front for the project.
Yeah.
So we were into them. Like we couldn't just throw up our hands and be like, "This is too much. Fuck off. Leave." We had used the money to buy equipment that we needed to do the project with, and it was like so. I'm pretty sure that we just did the barest minimum that our contract said, and then we're just like, all right, see ya, bye. But yeah, I feel like honestly, Marcus, that there's a lot of people in this world, especially in America, who don't understand, who have the attitude of this douchebag that you're talking about, who are just like, well, you should love your work and you should do it for free. My dad told me back when I first started learning art and animation stuff, he's like, there are people out there who will be like, oh, hell, go look at Matt Frank's Facebook page of just like, do it for the exposure. No. Or just like, do it because you love it. You're an artist. You love to do this. You should do it for free. It's like, no, not that either. Neither one of those two things are a thing. Those are reasons you've made up to not pay somebody to do work for you, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, one more question here, and then we're done. This one comes in from Whiskey Wolf, who says, hello, Dong Lords. Whiskey Wolf here. I started looking at what might be showing up to E3 this year, and noticed quite a few games that were announced last year, but we've seen almost nothing since. Last Guardian, Recore, Horizon, Zero Dawn, etc. So what are your thoughts, hopes, and predictions for what we will see at E3? I'm most looking forward to seeing the new Star Wars game that Amy Hennig has been working on and gameplay from Mass Effect Andromeda. As always, your hard work is greatly appreciated. The site community are the best around. Whiskey Wolf. P.S. When are we getting a new T-shirt? Probably never, Whiskey Wolf. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. So what do we want to see at E3 this year? Well, I think that Red Dead 2 would be a great thing.
Yeah.
I'd really like to see that. I've been, feel like as a community that we've only been asking for Red Dead 2 for a while now. That Star Wars game that Amy Hennig is writing, I think I'd like to see that. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else.
We'll probably end up seeing the NX, right?
Yeah, the NX will probably get announced. Like we'll get a better idea of what it is.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what we haven't seen in a while. We'll probably get to see that new God of War game that got leaked.
Yeah, we'll probably see more of that.
God of War with Vikings.
Norse mythology.
I'm trying to think.
Probably get to see a little bit more of Scalebound.
Probably more Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
It's been a while, so they'll probably have more of that. I wonder if I'm not really excited for it, but I'm sure that Sony is going to trot out that dumb game that Media Molecule is making about the
Dreams,
animation thing that looks like one of those toolkits that only the developers are able to use, where they're like, it's for everybody, and it's like, it's for you motherfuckers because you made it. I'm trying to think of franchises that we haven't seen in a while that we might see pop back up again. We got a new Gears. We got a new Halo.
We'll probably see more of Gears.
Yeah, more Crackdown, obviously.
I definitely think we'll see more Crackdown.
I'm trying to think. Ubisoft will probably have Watch Dogs 2, but I'm not really super excited about that this year. That new Battlefield we haven't seen yet, that's rumored to be a World War I game, might be kind of interesting. I'm really kind of like weird about that. Like, what the fuck? I tell you, one of the games that I'm really looking forward to that I've seen a couple design docs for is God, what the fuck? The guy, God, what did he make? Okay, it's a pirate game. It's a 1-bit pirate game Have you seen? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
It's a game that's being made by the guy. No. Let's see.
It's not, you're not talking about the game being done by Rare.
No. It looks like an old like Mac title where the guy has done a God damn, what is the name of this thing?
I don't know.
Let's see. It's by somebody fairly it's by somebody that's fairly.
But, going along, we'll probably also see more of Sea of Thieves, which is Rare's thing.
No, that's not it. Fuck, man. What is it called? It's called like a. Damn. Hold on. I need to use my keyboard for a second, John. You
okay?
Vamp. Say other things.
Yeah, like I said, we'll probably see more of Sea of Thieves, which is the Rare pirate game that they're working on. Since you kind of browsed by it real quick, so that's something that I think we'll see more of. We'll probably see more of Shenmue.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting.
Shenmue 3.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Return of the Obra Dinn. Just let's see. Okay, let me type that in here. Return.
Okay.
I keep seeing stuff about this. Do you not know about this?
No.
Okay. Of the Obra Dinn is okay. So this is by Lucas Pope, who made Papers, Please.
Oh, okay.
Oh shit. There's a GDC demo for this? When the fuck did that happen? Anyway,
GDC?
Yeah, okay. Yep. Okay. Anyway, the way that he's making this is it looks like an old like Macintosh adventure game. Like it's just black and white. There's no grayscale. But I was looking at a Gama Sutra article where it's actually like he is like the way that this is set up is it's actually a 3D modeled world that has a filter over it to make it look like this.
Oh, nice.
Which, if you guys haven't seen that, I mean, this will probably not be at E3, but I think that it looks really interesting. And I think that Papers, Please was a really fun game, so I can't wait to kind of see what's going on with that. Let's see. Probably nothing from... Let's see, Dark Souls 3 is out, so there's probably not going to be anything from as far as like that stuff. They're probably still going to be finishing up Dark Souls 3 before talking about anything else.
Probably see more of Recore.
Yeah. I mean, the games that he listed, like Horizon Zero Dawn has had, I believe, one additional trailer since then. I mean, about the Sony thing that was last year.
What's the game that was by the developers that did... Oh, fuck. What? That did the DMC... Devil May Cry game.
Oh, with the lady that's going crazy.
Yeah. I figure we'll probably see more about that.
Yeah. I don't know. You know what? Okay, so let me think to what the things that I'm most interested in seeing are. There won't be anything Miyazaki related. If Kojima shows off anything of that new project he's doing with Sony, I'm really interested in that.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm really interested in that. A new Batman, probably. Or something from Warner Brothers.
Probably more of the Telltale game.
No, I bet that Warner Brothers is going to at least announce...
if not a new Batman game, possibly a Superman game.
I think Arkham Origins 2 is probably what we're going to see next from them because they're probably not done. They're still...
Rocksteady's probably still off doing something.
Yeah, well, Rocksteady's... I mean, they're out now, but Warner Brothers still has that Warner Brothers Montreal team that made Arkham Origins. They probably have at least room for one more in there. I don't think... I'm trying to think of... The problem here is that the stuff that I most want to see at E3, I won't know until I see it, right?
Yeah.
You know what I would absolutely love? I would absolutely love if the NX comes with a trailer for a new fucking Metroid game because it's been too long since Other M or Prime 3 or whatever. Like, it's been too long. I goddamn love Metroid. That 3DS game doesn't fucking count. So bring on a new Metroid game from Nintendo. I'm sure there'll be some launch Mario game for the NX. We'll probably end up seeing more Zelda. Probably a much longer stage presence for Zelda this time around.
Yeah, an actual release date.
Yeah. Now that everything else is kind of out of the way. Persona 5, I'm still way looking forward to the release of Persona 5. and maybe that Itagaki Castlevania, the one that he's making, the Kickstarter one. Probably not going to be there, but I'm trying to think of stuff. What would you like to see from EA? They'll have 45 minutes worth of sports that I don't give a shit about. Ubisoft isn't going to have.
Yeah, EA will probably have Andromeda and the new Battlefront.
Right. For Honor.
Not Battlefront, but the new Star Wars game.
Won't be out.
Ooh, For Honor. That's
to see some more For Honor.
More of that, yeah.
You know what would be a really nice surprise for E3 is a new Saints Row. Either rebooting or continuing. Either way, I'd love to see more Saints Row.
Yeah. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
And I think
or
it's
just
about
something from Volition.
Yeah, something crazy. Yeah, make a brand new thing, you know. And I think that's about all I can think of. I'm trying to wrap my brain. It was no, that's about all I got.
Yeah.
It's late. Coffee's wearing off, folks. And that is our show for the week. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Get your questions into mail@rageselect.com. And if you have anything to say about this podcast, remember, just light a fire in your back. No, we do not encourage lighting fires in your backyard.
Write it down on a piece of paper.
Yes.
And then throw that piece of paper into a fire and let it burn up into the atmosphere.
I would say eat the piece of paper, and then you will literally be crapping on your own comment. No, that doesn't work. Write down the thing that we said that you didn't agree with, and then eat that piece of paper, and then you will literally be able... No, that doesn't work either.
You will poop that paper.
I tell you what, folks, we'll workshop it. We'll get back to you next week. We'll figure something out.